Welcome to the stream. A couple of technical difficulties, but hopefully we're live and hopefully the sound is okay as well. Mikael Manner, thanks for joining in. FPL FOMO, get those teams locked in before the official site crashes tomorrow. We actually had some early signs on the FPL servers. I think it was yesterday or a couple of days ago. The site was actually down. So I totally agree. There's no reason to wait until the last minute. We know there will be a lot heavy traffic on the FPL servers tomorrow, so I would try to lock my team as early as possible, to be honest. The team on the screen is my team at the moment. No Salah still. I have a Salah draft ready, but I think I'm really leaning towards this team. Let's see. Not a big fan of the new FPL site, to be honest. But it is what it is, I guess. My team is locked. Michael is locked in. If you're interested, you can post your team. If you head over to X and post your team in the comments on my latest post, and we can get it up on the screen. Alex, not the best team, pal. I think it's all right. Of course, no Salah, no Haaland going against the two most expensive players, and especially Salah and his ownership. There is a risk involved, of course, but it's not like going against Haaland last season when his ownership was like 70-80%. It's not like Salah have those numbers this season. FPL FOMO, I'm locked in. I'm fed up changing it around. Would a triple up Viritz, Gakpo, Salah be interesting? Of course, in Gameweek 1 there could be lots of points if Liverpool do well against Bournemouth, but I actually don't like Liverpool's fixtures early on, to be honest. But of course, going triple Liverpool attack will be a differential, and if they score like 4 or 5 goals, you will probably get a lot of points. The reason why I'm going against Mo Salah is that I'm really hoping that my other players can perform, and I will have Saka against Leeds in game week 2 for the captaincy. So I had a look at Salah's fixtures. So if I had Salah, I would probably just captain him twice in the next 5 game weeks. So this is one of the reasons why I'm going against him. Let's see what team are good. We don't know. Yes, that's true. I can tell you in September what team we should have started with. No one knows the best team. We are all guessing it. That's like some of the fun part of this game. Of course, we can like look at all the stats in the world, but in the end, we need a bit of luck as well, right? Sound, audio missing, not a good sign for me. So hopefully it's fixed. Hopefully it was just bad connection. So hopefully the sound is, yeah, no sound. It seems still no sound. There we go. Nice. Back again. That's great. I have this USB microphone. What really bothers me is the connectivity. Sometimes it's, even though I don't touch it, it actually falls out. You are back again. Thanks for letting me know, and hopefully it will stay on for the rest of the stream. It's 23 hours to go until the deadline. I'm really leaning towards this team. Mateta is my latest addition to the team. I've had Welbeck. I'm still considering Welbeck instead of Mateta and upgrading Van de Ven to Porro. I think Porro is a really good asset at the moment. 5.5 taking most of the set pieces for Spurs, so it's tempting to go Welbeck. He is rumored to start. The reason why I took out Welbeck and brought in Mateta was I read something about rotation in the Brighton attack and that Welbeck probably could sit out some games, but he will start most probably in game week 1, so it's tempting to go back to Welbeck. Mateta, Crystal Palace, they have a really tough game against Chelsea in game week 1, so not expecting that much, to be honest, from Mateta, but he took the last penalty in the Community Shield, so hopefully Mateta is the first choice penalty taker at the moment. I know SA, he took the last couple of penalties at the end of last season, but 2 years ago, Glasner said that they decided between them, SA and Mateta, who took the penalties. So hopefully it will be Mateta at the moment. So Mateta to Welbeck, Van de Ven to Porro is something I'm considering. I have Arias on my bench priced at 5.5. I actually don't like having 5.5 players on my bench, but this is because I will play my bench boost in game week 2. So I'm really hoping that both Dubravka and Esteve starts for Burnley in game week 1. Then my game week 2 bench boost is locked in. Have Marmoush in my team or downgrade him to NGI and spread money in defense? It kind of depends on how much you spent in defense. Do you have any other? As mentioned, I'm not sure what's happening with this USB microphone. Even though I don't touch it, it sometimes just stops working. I need to fix that before tomorrow's deadline stream. Thanks for letting me know in the comments though, because I'm not good at monitoring my own sound, so I still need a bit of help on this. FPL FOMO, Mikael Werner, thanks for letting me know. Hopefully I can like monitor my sound on screen. I can see like this bar going up and down, so hopefully it's back again, but I can't hear myself. So sound back. Thanks FPL FOMO. Let's have a quick look over at X to see if there are any drafts. My team right now, I can get this. So this is Mikael Werner's team. Let's have a look. Double Nottingham Forest defense, double up with both Sells and Milenkovic. both good options. Ait Nouri and Diouf. I like the Diouf pick. I have him in my own team as well. Ait Nouri, I'm not really sold on Ait Nouri. He will probably start in game week 1, but I think there will be rotation. So at 6 million premium price, you will have your defender starting every game week. But of course, Ait Nouri can be a really good pick and contribute with attacking returns as well. So you probably know the risk, Ait Nouri. And when it comes to City players, Reinders, I read a lot about him recently that he's definitely nailed on to start. There are some injuries in Man City at the moment, and Rodri, he will not feature in game week 1. So I think that he will be more of a number 6 rather than a number 8. But I think that he is a decent punt. Saka is in. Viritz as well. Bruno Fernandes. I actually like Bruno Fernandes myself. I've had him in a couple of drafts, and Cole Palmer, the most selected player. Up front, Gyökeres, a double up on Arsenal. And you have Ollie Watkins, in my opinion, actually the best forward option at the moment. De Kuiper on the bench. I really like De Kuiper. He's been in my team for, I think it was just a couple of days ago. I sold De Kuiper to bring in Van Dijk, but he has been in most of my drafts so far. So I really like De Kuiper as well. Dorgu. I really liked Dorgu a couple of weeks ago, but he did not play in what looked like the strongest starting 11 for Man United. Dorgu was benched, so I'm not sure if he is nailed on, and I think that Dorgu will start some of the games on the bench. Marquis, I've had him in a couple of drafts as well, but I can see him being benched, or if Marquis, if he blanks, I think that he has the potential to go down to 4.4 really soon. So this team will probably do well. No Salah team. No Salah, no Haaland, but really strong options. Watkins, Gyökeres up front. Like the Saka pick, especially when we consider Arsenal's fixture in game week 2 against Leeds. Not sold on your Man City options, to be honest. Reinders, Ait Nouri. But it's a strong team, of course. Dubravka, if he's nailed on. I can't actually see Guihi dropping down to 4.4, but strong, solid picks. Not sold on Dorgu. Don't think he's nailed. And as mentioned, will be kind of frustrating seeing Guihi 4.4, but no sound. It's really annoying. I'm not even touching the microphone, so we can hear now. Great. If you want your team rated, where can I send my team? Head over to X and post your team on my latest posts. Head over to X. like Mikael did my team just now. I really need to figure out this microphone, to be honest. But my team is back on the screen. I have Cells in goal. I have no other defenders from Nottingham Forest. Michael Werner, he had a double up, so you're not alone by doubling up on the Nottingham Forest defense. I think that this is a decent strategy. They did really well last season and would have got a lot more points if defensive contributions were in the game last season. So this is actually the reason why I went Cells, because there are a lot of Nottingham Forest defenders highly owned. We have Aina, Williams, Milenkovic, Murillo. So if Nottingham Forest keeps a clean sheet, it will really hurt my rank if I don't have Cells. So I like Sanchez as well, but Cells will be my starting goalkeeper. I've upgraded De Kuiper to Virgil van Dijk. So I have both Wirtz and Van Dijk, but no Mo Salah. Sent my team into X. Let's have a look. So this is FPL FOMO's team. Same goalkeeper as me. Cells, Konsa, Murillo, Milenkovic. New double up. Actually triple up from Nottingham Forest in defense. It's getting more and more obvious that Cells really has to be my goalkeeper. So a triple up, Nottingham Forest. I think that tripling up will be a differential. So if they keep a clean sheet against Brentford, this will be a really good start for your defense. Cole Palmer, captain, no Salah, no Haaland. I love this team, to be honest. Saka in midfield, Wirtz, Bruno Fernandes, Rodgers. He is rumored to start, so I think that Rodgers is a decent pick. João Pedro up front together with Watkins. Strong bench as well. Senesi, the 4.5 centre back from Bournemouth. Barnes, haven't seen him in a lot of teams. I haven't really checked his ownership, but can't really see Burnley scoring that many goals. But I think that he potentially is on penalties for Burnley. So actually a triple up. Bournemouth triple up. The thing with João Pedro is that he was the most selected player in the first week after the launch, but after his ownership started to go a bit down. But I've seen in recent days that João Pedro has become more and more popular. We know that Visa, he will not play Welbeck. There has been some rumors about Welbeck as well, so his ownership has gone down. We know Alexander Isak will not start. Solanke will be in the squad, but there are rumors that Richarlison will start for Spurs against Burnley in game week 1. So I think this is one of the reasons why João Pedro has become even more popular in the last couple of days. So he will potentially start. My problem with João Pedro is that I can't see him play 60, 70 minutes. They have recently signed the lap as well, so I think that he will get minutes. I picked Pedro just because of ownership. Of course, if you don't have Salah nor Haaland, it's really safe to go for Joe Pedro, so I totally get the reasoning behind the pick. Bournemouth, Forest rotate quite well. And if both Nottingham Forest and Bournemouth have a good fixture, then this team could be good to go for a bench boost as well. Like the triple up on Forest from Michael Werner. Yeah, I agree. I think that this is a differential, and we know that they are solid picks. They could potentially be season keepers, both Milenkovic and Murillo, if they stay away from injuries, and we know that Matsels is nailed on as well. I don't think Aston Villa will keep a clean sheet against Newcastle. This is the only worry for me when it comes to Esri Konsa. So I have Konsa in my team as well, but he is on the bench at the moment. So I really like this team. Some of the same players, but there are some similarities, but there are a lot of differences as well. Triple from Nottingham Forest. You have Bruno Fernandes and Rodgers in midfield, and you have Joao Pedro up top. So this is probably the biggest difference between our teams. Joao Pedro, Bruno Fernandes, Rodgers, and the Forest triple up. Konsa is a good rotation pick for me. Not exciting, I know. I agree, but he is a solid option. 4.5 nailed on starter. He has some attacking threat as well. Of course, he can get defensive contribution points, but I think with my rotation options, I would try to avoid fixtures like Newcastle. But of course, Newcastle, they are weakened at the moment. We know Alexander Isak will not play. They will potentially have Anthony Gordon up front, and this will weaken the Newcastle team, in my opinion. So starting Konsa could potentially be a really good strategy. I will have him on my bench, so you could be the one laughing at the end while I have points on my bench. FPL Lisa, hi, thanks for joining in. Let's have a look at the other teams sent in. So is this the correct team? Spears over at X. Let's get this a bit bigger. I might free hit in Gameweek 4 from FPL FOMO. Hopefully no wildcard until around Gameweek 8, Gameweek 13. I think that this is the correct strategy when it comes to the wildcard. Leaving it kind of open. The wildcard is the most powerful chip in my opinion, so if you decide before game week 1 when you will use your wildcard, I think that this can potentially be a trap and you can use it when you don't really need it. So game week 8 to game week 13, I think this is a really good period to consider the first wildcard. We will get extra transfers before AFCON as well. So I think that ahead of game week is like 16. When we get 5 transfers, this can be used as a mini wildcard. So it will be waste using your wildcard at the same time. Bruno is nailed in my team and will stay there as long as he isn't injured. I think that he potentially can be a really good option this season. What worries me with Bruno Fernandes is that he is playing a bit deeper this season. Hasn't really stopped him this preseason. I know that he has contributed with attacking returns, but the slightly deeper position for Bruno Fernandes together with the tough fixtures makes me start the season without him, to be honest. Olof, yes, my team that I like this team as well. Let's have a look. Do I comment on your recent post on X with my team? Yes. Post a picture of your team and I'll get it up on the screen. Last stream I really struggled with this. I thought that I could potentially use your team ID, but it's the easiest way to get your team up on the screen is to post a picture on my latest post on X. So Cells, he is, I think that he probably is the best goalkeeping option, especially at that price point, 5 million. So Cells, you have a double up on the Forest defense. Murillo, Cells. This is the first 4-4-2 I've seen in the days, but Cells, Murillo, you have Saliba, Cucurella, Virgil van Dijk, so a really heavy defense in this team. In midfield, Cherki. I'm not sold on Cherki, to be honest. I think that there will be some games that he will get 1-pointers coming in, like we've seen with Doku, Foden, Savinho, players like that. Anthony Gordon, he will potentially start up front for Anthony Gordon. I'm not sure if this is good or bad for his output, but we know that Alexander Isak will not play, so it will potentially be Gordon up front. Jorginho, I've read about the Brighton team that he is probably the best option from the Brighton attack. I've had Welbeck, but I've been talked out of starting this season with Welbeck because there are better options and Welbeck can potentially see some rotation. So I think that Jorginho Rutter probably is a really, really good pick. Is he priced at 6 million? Gakpo, differential Liverpool attacker. You have Fulkrug, really good option as well, and a nice price. He's only priced at 6, and you have the big man up front, Erling Haaland. I like Haaland, but I don't like Cherki, to be honest, from Man City. So Haaland, safe. Cherki is... I would like to start this season with players with a bit higher expected minutes, to be honest. Dubravka on the bench. You have Guardiola benched as well. Schade is a risk, and you have Strand Larsen. I would potentially downgrade 1 or 2 of the defenders in this team, to be honest. In my opinion, you don't really need 4-6 million defenders together with Murillo at 5.5. I think this is probably a bit too much spent in defense, especially seeing you have a 6 million defender on your bench with a decent fixture against Wolves. So if I had a 6 million defender playing against Wolves, he would definitely be in my starting 11, to be honest. So I would potentially look at something like Guardiola to a starting 4.0 or 4.5 and use some of the money to upgrade Shirky. I like the differential picks in Jorginho. I like Gakpo, Fulkrug, Haaland, but I would try to shift some of the money from defense and upgrade your Man City midfielder, to be honest. Guardiola is not fully fit as well, so definitely Guardiola would be the one to downgrade. So if you want to downgrade to a starting 4.0, my preferred options would be Rodon from Leeds, Esteve from Burnley, or potentially Ranildo from Sunderland. Let's have a look at a couple of other teams. FPL Gump. First team without Cells in goal. We have Sanchez. I like him as well. I've actually had Sanchez in a couple of drafts, but as we can see, still a double up from the Nottingham Forest defense with both Murillo and Nico Williams. I really like Pedro Porro. Actually, I have been thinking about upgrading Van de Ven to Porro, but I need to sell Mateta and downgrade him to Welbeck, so I'm not really sure. We'll make a decision on this probably tonight. You have Cole Palmer, Mo Salah, Bruno Fernandes, Rodgers, Reinders up front, Strand Larsen and Watkins. Anderson, I like Anderson as well, one of the best 4.5 options in my opinion. I'm not a big fan of Gui at the moment, but I like Esteve, the 4.0 starting defender for Burnley. So strong team, not sold on Reinders. Like the defense, and of course both Cole Palmer, Mo Salah, Bruno Fernandes, all really high expected minutes and on penalties for their respective teams. I talked about Bruno Fernandes. I would like to fit him in, but I'm starting the season without him. He's playing a bit deeper, but has done well in preseason on set pieces. The thing that makes me go without him is the fixtures, to be honest. Refresh Vishnu Shankar, hi. Thanks for joining in. If you're interested, go post your team in on X, my latest post on X, and I will get it up on the screen. So overall, solid team. I would potentially do something with Reinders. I'm not sold on Marquis. I can see him drop down to 4.4 as well. But of course, if you want to play the 3-5-2 and have a 4.5 fodder, then he is probably the best option. But I can see if he's benched or if he blanks in the first couple of game weeks, he will probably be sold by a lot. So this is something to consider. But if you're willing to take the risk, and it's not the end of the world losing 0.1, of course, but there is a slight risk involved in picking Marquis, in my opinion. Refresh. I'll do that. Let's have a look at some more teams. That was FPL Gump, AY Beckham, DXO No Salah and Haaland. Let's take this one. Another no Salah Haaland team. So out of the 6 teams I've had on the screen so far, I think that 4 of them have been no Salah, no Haaland teams. And here is another one. This has cells. Frimpong in defense. We have Kukurea and Gabriel, so really heavy defense on this one as well. 3 6.0 options. Wirtz in midfield, Cole Palmer, solid pick. Kudus, at the start, after the launch, I didn't really like Kudus, but when we've seen what happened over at Spurs with all the injuries, I think that he I like the NGI pick. I don't like my microphone. Microphone is okay, but the USB cable that comes with it is not. It's not my best friend at the moment. Thanks for letting me know in the comments. I'm not sure why, because I'm not even touching my phone or the wire, but it just falls out, so I need to unplug it and plug it back in. So thanks for letting me know in the comments, so I'm just not sitting muted. I like the Jared Bowen and Joe Pedro pick. I talked a bit about Joe Pedro, but he will start for Chelsea. My problem with Joe Pedro is that I can't see him being limited to 60-70 minutes because of the lap. Aina on the bench, Nico Williams on the bench, so you actually have a triple up, same as with FPL Foam, who are triple up from the Nottingham Forest defense. I think this team is good to go for a bench boost, to be honest. You will have some benching headaches in the coming game weeks, seeing you have both Aina, Williams, and Welbeck, 2 5 million defenders and a 6.5 forward on your bench. But it can work out. I think Frimpong will start, but I think that Connor Bradley will get minutes as well. But of course, we know that he can be a really, really good and explosive FPL asset. We've seen this in the Euros. We see this in the Champions League fantasy as well. So, Matthias, good now. Thanks for letting me know. All good. Nice. I like this team. I think that you will be a bit frustrated that you have to bench strong players week in, week out, especially in your attack. So in game week 2, you either have to sell Welbeck or NGI, or you have to bench one of them. So really solid team and a good bench boost, but there will be some decisions to be made in the coming game weeks. Next team is Edwin 102. Let's have a look. Sanchez in goal. So far we only had Sells and Sanchez in goal for all of the teams. I think this is team number 8. Double up from the Spurs defense, Pedro Porro, Van de Ven. I really like both Van de Ven and Pedro Porro. I've just mentioned that I'm really considering upgrading Van de Ven to Pedro Porro, to be honest. But I need to downgrade Mateta to Welbeck, so there is a decision to be made. Nico Williams, so you're covering the Nottingham Forest defense. Actually, I think it's important having a Nottingham Forest defender, seeing that their defense is so highly owned. So if they keep a clean sheet against Brentford, it will potentially hurt your rank if you don't have any Forest defenders. And this is the reason why my team has Cells. Cole Palmer in midfield. I think most teams so far have had Cole Palmer. This team has Salah as well. Ekitike up top. I like this pick. He will start. He can potentially become a really good FPL option. Bruno Fernandes, Jorginho, I talked about him as well. He might actually be the best pick from Brighton, especially if you take a look at Brighton forums and stuff like that. Their fans are really backing Jorginho Rutter to do well this season. Watkins up front. You have Anderson on the bench, Guihi and Esteve and Dubravka. So this team looks set for a bench boost in Game Week 2 if you're interested, and especially if Guihi starts in Game Week 1 for Sunderland. I think this team potentially can be bench boosted in Game Week 2. I'm not a big fan of Reinders, the Man City midfielder. But I think this is a really strong team, and I like the Ekitike punt up front together with Watkins. So really strong, solid team. Can't really fault it. Interesting seeing the double Spurs defense. Can do really well in Game Week 1, but remember Spurs, they have a tough game in Game Week 2 against Man City, so you can potentially get away with double Spurs defense if you play one of your other defenders in Game Week 2. Esteve have a really good game. Esteve has a really good game in Game Week 2 against Sunderland, so you can potentially bench Van de Ven and play Esteve. So this is a good team. Will be interesting to see, of course, Ekitike for Liverpool. Mine is next in comments. Let's have a look. Vishnu. Olaf, thoughts on Trafford if Ederson goes to Turkey? If we get the confirmation that Trafford is Man City's starting goalkeeper at 5 million, I think that he is a really, really good option. I talked about this in a couple of my preseason videos as well, that he is a potential must-have if Ederson leaves. So if Ederson goes to Turkey, I think that Trafford is a really, really good option. So Man City is not a team that often gets save points and stuff like that, but of course they can keep a couple of clean sheets. I've actually can't remember, was it last season or 2 seasons ago, Man City, they didn't really keep that many clean sheets, but when we took a look at their fixtures and the results, they actually, in most games, they only conceded 1 goal, so they were so close to keeping more clean sheets. But new season, new possibilities. So this is Vishnu's team. Mine is next in the comments. Let's have a look. I'll try to get it a bit bigger. There we go. So Cells in goal again, and a new double up from the Forest defense. This seems like the template at the moment, having 2 Nottingham Forest defenders. So I think that at least we should have one. We've actually seen a couple of triple ups from the Forest defense as well. So Cells in goal together with Williams. Diouf, I really like him. And we have Cucurella as well. So double up on Chelsea with Cole Palmer in midfield. A new team with Reinders. What am I missing? I think this is like the 4th or 5th team with Reinders in. Dewsbury Hall will potentially take some set pieces for Everton, so he can be a really good pick. And Wirtz. on set pieces for Liverpool as well. Haaland up front together with both Gyökeres and Ollie Watkins. Really strong forward line. You have Malin as well. Guehi and Hartman, Dubravka. So this team is actually really strong, can potentially be bench boosted. Can't really fault this team, to be honest. I talked about Reinders, but must be missing something. From what I've seen, he will play deep, and I've seen some discussions when it comes to Rodri and his lack of match fitness and his injury from the Club World Cup. Some people think that the Rodri injury is good for Reinders and that he is nailed on, but some are saying that the injury will make Reinders even more defensive. So I'm not really sold on Reinders at the moment. Dewsbury Hall, good punt. So I really like this team as well. And Mal on the bench. So I think this team actually is good to go for a bench boost. Options on Mateta and Tielemans. Mateta is actually in my team at the moment, and I really like Tielemans as a pick as well. Tielemans on corners and free kicks for Aston Villa, and I'm not 100% sure if it will be Tielemans or Watkins taking their penalties. I've actually seen some suggest that it will be Tielemans. Matthias Reinders had many goal involvements last season. Could play number 10 or advanced 8 and score 2 in the preseason game. I've seen this that he did well in the Serie A. Scored 2 in the preseason game. Could play as their number 10. Maybe I need to check him more closely. I've seen a lot of posts over on X about Reinders, so I will potentially have to check him a bit closer. Check mine, FPL dope. Let's have a look. So this is FPL dope. It's kind of funny. There have only been 2 goalkeepers selected in the 10 teams that I've taken a look at so far, Sanchez and Cels. And this is a team with Sanchez, Tarkovsky, solid pick. Pedro Porro, I really like him as well. He will potentially get Pedro Porro into my own team. Let's have a look at that in a minute. And you have a Forest defender in Milenkovic, Wirtz in midfield, Cole Palmer, Bruno Fernandes, Anderson, Dewsbury Hall, I like him as mentioned, and up front Watkins and Haaland. Decent bench as well. You skipped mine on possible spam. I'll check it out, Matthias, in a minute. What I don't like about Guehi is that he can potentially be a gem, but he can potentially be a trap as well. So if Guehi don't score, or if he don't start in game week 1 in the first couple of game weeks, I think that he will drop in price really soon. His ownership has gone up recently. I haven't really checked today, but last time I checked he had 14% ownership, something like that. Let's have a quick look. It's up to 15.3 Mark Guehi ownership, so I think that there is a risk involved going for the 4.5 forward. But I like this team as well, and if Guhi is a starter for Sunderland, he potentially will be down the line. And this team looks ready for a bench boost as well. I think that having a team with the possibility of a bench boosting can be a big benefit, because there will be injuries, there will be suspensions, and I think that getting the first bench boost out of the way can be a good strategy. And when you use your bench boost, you can go for one of the players that drops in price. I'm not saying it definitely will be Guhi, but some player will go down to 4.4, and you can have him last on your bench and spend more of the budget on your 14 strongest players. So this will be my tactic. I'm starting with Arias because I will bench boost in game week 2, but after this I will downgrade one of my players to a 4. Hopefully a 4.4, but possibly a 4.5, and spend more of the budgets on the players actually playing. So a strong team. I like the Duisburg Hall. I've seen a lot of the Forest midfielder Anderson, but I think you're relying too much on Defcon points. I know that he is on corners as well for Nottingham Forest, but we know that he will pick up some yellow cards as well. So I think you're really relying on Defcon points in every game when it comes to Anderson, especially if you're going to start him week in, week out. Dope, I've shared one more, an alternative. Can you please check my team? AY Beckham. I think actually I had AY Beckham up on the screen. I quickly take a look at Matthias first. Let's have a look. So this is Matthias' team. This is funny, a new team, a new Sanchez or Cells, and this one has Sanchez and we have Williams. Diouf, a good pick, Van de Ven. So both Diouf and Van de Ven currently in my own team. Wirtz as well. Cole Palmer, solid pick. I like the Gakpo punt. He will start on that left wing for Liverpool, so he can potentially be a really good asset at the start of the season. Bruno Fernandes, another Reinders pick, and Haaland, Watkins. Richards, I like him as a differential, will play for Crystal Palace. I have discussed the Guhi pick and both Dubravka and Estev. So if Guhi, if he starts in game week 1, this team looks ready for a bench boost in game week 2 as well. Dubravka and Estev playing at home against Sunderland. So I like this team. I have been talking about Reinders. I will have to check his stats a bit more closely, but I've actually read a couple of threads on X about him. There are mixed opinions. I know the stats from the Serie A is from Italy is good, but the injury to Rodri can potentially make him a bit deeper, but I may have to eat my words when it comes to Reinders. So I really like this team as well. No Salah. I think going without Mo Salah is no sound. Thanks for letting me know. It's really helpful writing in the comments about the no sound because I have no way to monitor it. So I just need to unplug my USB and get it back in, and then the sound is back. Not really sure why. Shouldn't be like this, but I need to check the connectivity. But let me know in the comments and I'll just unplug it and get it back in. So this is AY Beckham. I'm not sure why I skipped your team. Really sorry. You were actually one of the first to comment. I thought that we had a look at your team, but hopefully it's fine. Let's get this a bit. Pick up attacking returns. I'm not really sure. Probably some defensive contributions, but not seen much of him, to be honest. And Bruno Fernandes, of course, well-known FPL asset. Up front, Beto, good price, 5.5, one of the best in his price points. Will start up front for Everton. Problem with doubling up on Everton is that I'm not really sure how many goals they will get. Will they try to get clean sheets and sit out games, or will they go heavily in attack? I'm not really sure at the moment. I would like to see some more Everton games before going for a midfielder and forward, to be honest. Haaland and Mo Salah in the same team. I think that, to be honest, this takes up a bit too much of the budget. So you have a weak bench in this team as well. I would So we have the three most expensive players in, and to be honest, I'm a bit worried that this takes up a bit too much of your budget and that your other alternatives in this team suffers a bit too much because of the triple premium with Palmer, Haaland and Mo Salah. But of course they are priced at these prices for a reason. They are really good FPL options, but I think that I would like a bit more balanced team, to be honest. So I think your team suffers a bit too much because of the triple premium. May have to eat my words, of course, after game week 1 if Mo Salah, Palmer and Haaland all holds, but so I would consider going a bit more differential in defense. Williams instead of Aina, Diouf instead of Van Bissaka. And I would consider actually dropping one of the premiums and upgrade. Maybe having one or two starters on the bench. And probably upgrade Reed as well. So this was AY Beckham. So let me know if there are any teams I've missed. FPL Gump, AY Beckham, DXO. New team posted. Let's have a look. This is from the Fantasy Football Hub. Bit difficult formats, but hopefully we can see the whole team. Try to. Oops. Maybe this is a better option. You have to bear with me, guys. I'm not an expert on these visual things, but hopefully this is okay. So this team, Sanchez in goal, I think that it's actually a bit weird. We've seen 12, 13 teams by now, and every one of them have had either Sanchez or Cels in goal. Pedro Porro, I talked about him a couple of times earlier. I would actually like to have him in my team. At the end of the stream, I will show you a possible way for me to get Pedro Porro. Milenkovic is in. Van Dijk is in as well. He's in my team. Anderson, I talked about him. Reinders, I'm actually not a fan of the 5.5 midfield options, but I may have to eat my words as mentioned about Reinders. And of course, if Anderson picks up the defensive contribution points to get 2 points, and if he gets an assist as well, this is 5. 2 points for playing this is 7, potentially bonus. So he can, of course, be a good asset, picking up 8, 9 points in a game, but I can't really see him getting a couple of assists, brace of assists in a game, and I don't see him score many goals. So I think that Anderson is probably kept at 8, 9 points, and this will be, can't really see him break into double digits, but of course at 5.5, if he can reasonable amount of times gets 8 to 9 points, this will be really good value, of course. Wirtz is in. I like him. He's in my team as well. Cole Palmer, and you have Mo Salah captain. So, of course, really strong options. He is the bookie's favorite, Mo Salah, when it comes to anytime goal scorer for game week 1. So, of course, a really good option. And up front, Watkins and Mateta, same forwards as me. And on the bench, Diouf, Estev, Guhi, and Dubravka. Really strong team. I really like this team, to be honest. Not a big fan of the 5.5 midfielders, but this team is really close to a bench boost, to be honest, seeing you have Diouf playing against Sunderland on your bench. I would actually be tempted to bench boost, but I think it's probably a bit too early, and I don't think that Estev and Dubravka will keep a clean sheet against Spurs. So Tosin from Chelsea, thoughts, will he start? I think Tosin will start. Colwill is injured, and we saw in the Club World Cup that Tosin, he is probably next in line. He scored from a corner in the Club World Cup as well, so he has some attacking threat. I've actually talked about Tosin in one of my differential videos, and I think that he is a really good asset. The problem with Tosin is that he is probably a transfer waiting to happen, but we've not gotten any confirmation about how long Colwill will be out for, but it looked like a serious injury. So I'm not sure if they will bring in another centre back or what will happen. We know that they can make transfers all the way until the 31st of August, so Chelsea can potentially get another centre back as well if Colwill is out for an extended period. Dope, check my alternative after this. I'll see if I can get your alternative team up on the screen. Benji, thoughts on Schade? I think that he will do well. He has been injured, but he looks ready to start in game week 1. We got the confirmation that Visa will not play, so Schade, he will definitely start. They will have Thiago up front. I'm not really sure if he is a good option. Problem with starting with Thiago. Of course, a really good price for the starting number 9 from Brentford, but I think that even though Visa misses out in game week 1, he may be ready for game week 2. So I think that Thiago potentially can be a trap, but Schade will probably start on the left-hand side. So a good option, a differential. And if you need a 6 million midfielder, he is potentially a good option. I heard Dubravka is fit to play in game week 1, so he might start, right? He is rumored to start. Eddie Howe said right before the transfer from Newcastle to Burnley that he actually had a bit small problem with his shoulder, but there were no mention of this in the press conference today, so I think that he will start. The Burnley manager only talked about the importance of starting experienced players and players that have experience from the Premier League. So I definitely think that Dubravka will start. I think this is one of the reasons why Dubravka left. Burnley, they sold Trafford to Man City, so the number 1 jersey was available. FPL Dope, sorry for the delay. You just have to bear with me. So this is an alternative team. Let's have a look. Kelleher in goal. He will most probably start. I think there is a small risk involved going with Kelleher, but you have Dubravka that potentially can cover. So both of your goalkeepers will most probably play, but there is a slight risk that you will have no playing goalkeeper in game week 1 as well. So a bit risky selection, but it will probably be fine. Covering the Nottingham Forest defense with Murillo, Pedro Porro, I really like him. Diouf, strong option as well. Bruno Fernandes, Cole Palmer, Wirtz, Watkins, Haaland, and Fulkrug. Can't really fault this team, to be honest. I talked about the 5.5 midfielders, but can't really say that much more about them other than I'm not a fan of players that will heavily rely on defensive contributions. If it wasn't kept at maximum 2 points, I think that players like Anderson probably will be even better, but at 5.5 I think that he is a solid pick. And you have decent bench in this team as well, so you can potentially bench boost in game week 2. I have Esteve and Dubravka as well, and I will probably bench boost in game week 2 for the good Burnley fixture at home against Sunderland. I like the Pedro Porro pick. Spurs, they are actually the bookies' favorite when it comes to keeping a clean sheet in game week 1. Kind of surprising seeing how they defended last season, but for their fixture against Spurs, they have 49% chance of a clean sheet according to the bookies. Man City is next with 43, while Chelsea 42% chance of a clean sheet for their game at the Stamford Bridge against Crystal Palace. The most selected player at the moment is Cole Palmer, 59, will probably be 60. Potentially is 60 at the moment, haven't really checked in the last couple of hours. Joe Pedro, one of the players that has lost most owners in the last week. Alexander Isak as well, and Ait Nouri from Man City. He started, when the game launched, he was selected by well above 30%. Can you check my team? Of course, let's have a look. If I can find your team. Maybe I need to refresh. This is probably your team, right? Let's have a look at this team, Sanchez. I think it's getting a bit funny at the moment. This is like team 15. And we have Sanchez and Cells. We have one team with Keller. This is a new Sanchez team. But the Nottingham Forest defense is covered with Williams. Pedro Porro, he has become more popular after their game yesterday. Almost set pieces for Spurs at the moment, so I think that he's a really good option. Diouf, I like him as well. Mo Salah captain, safe, solid option, of course, and the most selected player in the game, Cole Palmer as well. Bruno Fernandes, he is, of course, a solid FPL option, even though he will play a bit deeper in that Man United team. King, not seen him that much. I've actually seen him mentioned in some differential threads over at X. I haven't really looked too much into him myself. Let's have a quick look at him really soon. You have Wirtz, Watkins, and Joao Pedro. So kind of a template team. Strong options. You have Dubravka on the bench. Leeds defender Gudmundsson, Estev, and Mark Guihi. I'm not sure, for new listeners, I'm really not sure if Mark Guihi is a good pick. He can potentially be a trap. I think that if he doesn't start for Sunderland or if he blanks in the first couple of game weeks, he will most probably go down to 4.4. Just checked his ownership. He's gone above 15% at the moment. So I think that a lot of FPL managers are expecting him to start and score goals. But I can't really see it, to be honest. But I may have to eat those words as well. Of course, he can really rip up the Premier League if he becomes nailed on as Sunderland's number 9. But how good is actually Sunderland compared to the Premier League teams? We've seen in recent years that most of the newly promoted sides, they tend to struggle. So I like this team. Not sure about King. I'll have a quick look. Josh King 4.5, selected by 0.7. Haven't really seen Josh King in many FPL teams. I can see that last season his price dropped to 4. Thanks for letting me know about the no voice. This has happened actually 5 times earlier. I'm really sorry about the sound. Not really sure what's happening. I'm not touching my microphone, not touching the USB wire, but it decides to just mute itself, so I need to unplug it and plug it back in. So thanks for letting me know in the comments so I can just fix it quick. Not sure, as mentioned, I just talked about Josh King. I'm not really sold on him, 4.5. But if you watch the Fulham games, you probably have more information about Josh King than I have at the moment, but haven't really seen much of him. Looked at his stats from last season. 1 start. Will he be nailed on for Fulham this season? I'm not really sure. Other than that, really solid options in this team. Covering the Forest defense, Pedro Porro, really good pick. Sanchez in goal. Diouf, good game against Sunderland. So can't really fault this team. And if you believe that Guihi will do well at Sunderland, and if you think that King will do well, so of course you should just keep them in your team, regardless of my assessment. Bruno and Van de Ven or Mbumo and Porro. I would prefer having Bruno, to be honest, even though he's 1 million more expensive compared to Mbumo and Cunha. I think that Bruno is the talisman at Man United. And I think that Mbumo, Cunha, good players, but I don't think that they will be that good this season. They were the talismanic figures for both Brentford and for Wolves last season on set pieces, including penalties. But Bruno Fernandes, he is still the king at Old Trafford, in my opinion. So I think that he actually is worth the upgrade to 9 million. Van de Ven, I think that he is a really good option as well. I would probably try to find the 1 million in another way, to be honest. So this is my team at the moment. I have Van de Ven as well. I'm really interested in getting Pedro Porro. One of the ways I can get to Pedro Porro is by downgrading Mateta. I don't really like the fixture in game week 1 against Chelsea, so I'm not really sold on Mateta. So one way for me to get Pedro Porro is to downgrade Mateta to Welbeck and upgrade Van de Ven to Pedro Porro. But I'm not really sure if I have a star. If I have a 5.5 defender, I would like to play him week in, week out, and this kind of ruins the good rotation between Van de Ven, Diouf, and Konsa. Another possibility is, of course, to downgrade Arias to Josh King. I just got the news that Josh King is a good FPL asset, done well for Fulham this preseason, but I need to do some more research on Josh King before making this decision. Arias is 5.5. I think that he is a good punt for the start of the season, so I will bench boost in game week 2 with this team. Dubravka, Estev, good fixture in game week 2. I will have Arias coming in as well. So my plan is to bench boost in game week 2. The rough plan for game week 3 and 4 and onwards is to try to get Bruno Fernandes into my team. Maybe something like John Arias to a 4.5 midfielder that will mostly stay on my bench. And then I can potentially upgrade Marmouche to Bruno Fernandes. And if I do this in Game Week 3, then Bruno will be my captain in Game Week 3. My plan is to captain Jared Bowen in Game Week 1. I'm willing to take a risk at the start of the season. It can't really go that much worse compared to my start last season, to be honest. I started the season with Mo Salah and no Haaland. And in the first 6 game weeks last season, Erling Haaland scored 10 goals. I got Haaland in Game Week 7 and sold Mo Salah, but all of a sudden Mo Salah started scoring for fun and the goals dried up for Haaland. So a terrible start last season for me. I really need this season to be different, and hopefully I can get a new top 10k rank. Last 2 seasons is actually my worst FPL season, so it's kind of frustrating after starting to make FPL content. I haven't really done that well. My best rank is actually 157 in the world. Should have started a YouTube channel back then. Would probably be good for the subscriber count. You can see over at X as well, those managers posting I'm 50th in the world. They tend to have a lot of followers. At the moment, I actually have 2,900. I think it's 50 now. It says 48, 2,948 on the graphic, but I think it's actually gone above 2,950. So that's really great. So if you're interested, subscribe to the channel, and if you're interested, go join my mini league as well. There is a small prize for the winner, so go join my mini league as well. It's linked down in the scrolling text at the bottom, and you can find it over at X as well. Latest injury news is on the graphics as well. We know Gabriel is fit, Tarkowski, Reece James is actually fit at the moment. Alexander Isak will potentially not start. Rodgers is a small risk, but I think that he will start. Solanke is fit. He played 20 minutes yesterday, but the rumor says that Richarlison will start up front. Rodri, Kluivert will potentially not play for Bournemouth and Man City in Game Week 1. Madison is definitely out. Same goes for Udogi. Martinez, he is suspended and will not play for Aston Villa. Kulusevski is definitely out. Same goes for Colville and Vissa. So Vissa, he is not injured. So I think that it's potentially is a trap going for Thiago, because Vissa, he can potentially be back for Game Week 2. So when it comes to the number 9 shirt or not number 9 spot at Brentford at the moment, I think it's safe just to stay away. Potential transfers. I might downgrade Mateta to Welbeck. I like the fixture in Game Week 1 against Fulham. He is rumored to start. What bothers me about Welbeck is that there are some rumors among the Brighton fans that Welbeck actually is not nailed, that there will be rotation up front for Brighton. So, of course, I would like a nailed on Welbeck, but if he will start some of the games from the bench, then I'm really not that interested. I really like Pedro Porro, 5.5 on most set pieces for Spurs, but one of the problems for me in getting Pedro Porro is that if I have a 5.5 defender, I would like to start him week in, week out. And what I like about Van de Ven is that he has a good rotation between him, Diouf, and Konsa. So Virgil van Dijk, he will start every game week, and I will start 2 of Konsa, Van de Ven, and Diouf. Ares is in mostly because my plan is to bench boost in game week 2. I think that the transfer of Dubravka from Newcastle to Burnley gave me this idea. I really like the fixture in game week 2 for Burnley. They did well when we consider their defensive ability last season. They're playing against would like to call it a championship level team in game week 2 at home against Sunderland. So hopefully Burnley can keep a clean sheet. So please let me know in the comments, would you like Welbeck and Pedro Porro, or would you go Mateta and Van de Ven? Let's put up a quick poll. So please go vote in the poll. Which option do you think will bring most FPL points? Pedro Porro, nailed on attacking defender for Spurs on set pieces, and Welbeck, who is maybe and possibly a rotation risk at Brighton, but when he's on the pitch, he is their first choice penalty taker. So I like Welbeck, I like Porro, so those transfers can happen for me, but I like Van de Ven and Mateta as well. So go vote in the poll. And if you're interested in a rating of your draft or discussion, more, I haven't really rated any drafts with numbers, but at least give it my opinion on drafts, and we can discuss it. So post a picture of your team on my latest post over at X. Same handle over at X as on YouTube. It's FPL TFS. Post a picture of your team and I'll get it up on the screen. Of course, if you're interested, go check out my Game Week 1 team selection video as well. Would be really helpful reaching those 4,000 watch hours on this platform. It's really hard to reach 4,000 watch time hours. Doesn't really sound that much, but when you break it down, you have to have like 11 hours every day of watch time, and that actually is a lot. Let's see, is there any teams under FPL FOMO, Mikael Werner and Matthias? So we talked about those. FPL Gimp, AY Beckham, DXO, Akash, Edwin, Spears, Lolo. I think we've seen this one as well. FPL Dope, you had 2 different alternatives, one bench boost team and one second alternative. There are a couple of others down, Vishnu and Matthias. I think we've gone through the posted teams at the moment, but if you just recently joined the stream, post a picture of your team on the mentioned post, but you have to head over to X. This is the easiest way for me to get your team up on the screen. So I think that from game week 2 and onwards, there is a possibility of just plotting in your team ID, but this is not an option before game week 1. So this is my team at the moment. I have one dilemma, one last decision to make. I will probably use this as the core of my team. Pedro Porro and Welbeck, or Van de Ven and Mateta. Go vote in the poll. Let's have a look. Van de Ven, Mateta is leading way at the moment. This is my actual team. Van de Ven, Mateta is what I've been on for the last couple of days, but I started thinking about Pedro Porro when we saw Madison got injured a couple of weeks ago. Didn't really think about Pedro Porro before yesterday when he looked really good in the Spurs game. I sent mine on X, replied to your tweet, Luca Thompson. Let's have a look. Maybe I need to refresh. I will have a wild guess that you have either Cels or Sanchez as your goalkeeper. Let's have a look. Need to get this. Like that. As mentioned, you need to bear with me when it comes to those visuals. Not really that good, but I think this is fine. Sanchez in goal and Murillo covering the Forest defense. We've seen this in a lot of drafts, and it is the template for a reason. So I think that it's really, really good covering the Forest defense and having Sanchez in goal. Van de Ven is in this team. We have Guardiola. I would like to be cautious when it comes to Guardiola. There has actually been some rumors about Guardiola being injured, so I'm not sure if we will get a confirmation from Pep on his fitness, but he's not yellow flagged. But I've actually seen in the chat today, and I read on X as well, that he is a doubt for game week 1, so pay attention to this tomorrow. There might be some news about Guardiola. Gakpo, I really like the punt on Gakpo. For my team, I will take a punt on Wirtz. I usually don't like taking punts on the new arrivals, but Wirtz, the transfer was done so early in the summer. He played many minutes this preseason, so I like Wirtz, but of course Gakpo, he will start as well. And if Mo Salah is not on the pitch, Gakpo will potentially take their penalties. So Gakpo, really good option. Sar, I like him as well. I don't like Crystal Palace fixtures. I have Mateta myself, but this is mostly because of the penalties. But Sar 6.5, really good price. You can have SA at 7.5, Mateta 7.5, but Sar at 6.5 is probably a good deal and a big differential as well. Last time I checked, Sar, he was selected by only 2% of the managers. So Rodgers rumored to start, so a solid pick. Watkins up front, Haaland captain, and Joao Pedro. Can't really fault those picks, to be honest. Anderson on the bench. Dorgu. I'm not sold on Dorgu. I think that correct me if I'm wrong, but I don't think that he is nailed on. There are a lot of nailed on 4.5 options, but I would potentially go for someone safer like Joachim Andersen from Fulham or Esri Konsa from Aston Villa, to be honest. But if you really like Man United defender in your team, he is probably worth a punt. Virgil van Dijk better. I would potentially sell Guardiola and get Van Dijk in, to be honest, just for the safety. So I would go Virgil van Dijk rather than Guardiola. NGI or Sar. I would probably just say NGI because of the tough fixtures for Crystal Palace and the fact that NGI is on set pieces and nailed on for Everton. I like for 38 game weeks, I would prefer Sar, but at the moment and in the opening 5 game weeks, I think NGI is the better pick. Let's have a look at the poll. 67% Van de Ven Mateta. I'm leading 71-29. I'm leaning towards just keeping Van de Ven and Mateta, especially after seeing the votes in the poll, to be honest. 71-29. Who do you think I should change Dorgu for? I think there are better 4.5 options. I mentioned just realized I was muted once again. Hopefully the sound is back on. When it comes to replacements for Dorgu, if there are any Man United experts in the chat, please correct me if I'm wrong, but I don't think that he is nailed on to play week in, week out, so I think there are better 4.5 options than Dorgu. So my picks would be Joachim Andersen from Fulham or Konsa, Esri Konsa from Aston Villa. I think they are more secure of starts, and I think that especially Aston Villa have a better defense. So I know that Dorgu had a couple of good games for Man United this preseason, but as mentioned, correct me if I'm wrong, but I'm not sure if he will start week in, week out. 75% Van de Ven, Mateta. Favorite combination. The thing is that I have a decision to make with my own team. I have Van de Ven in and I have Mateta. I really like Pedro Porro, so I can potentially downgrade Mateta to Welbeck and upgrade Van de Ven to Pedro Porro. So this is the reason why I have this in the poll at the moment. If you're interested in a rating of your team, more of a discussion of your team, to be honest, then just post a picture on my latest post over on X, and I'll get it up on the screen. So in the graphics on the screen, you can see the top 3 anytime goal scorer, top 3 clean sheet odds. The players that has lost most owners in the last week, injuries and suspensions. Top 3 clean sheet odds and the most selected players. Usually I don't have the most selected players. I have most transfers in when I have those Q&As. I usually have Q&As the night before the deadline. So the deadline is usually on a Saturday. So I usually have Friday Q&As around this time. So if you're interested, subscribe to the channel if you like this type of discussions. That would be really, really appreciated. At the moment on the graphics on the screen, you can see that it says 2,948 subscribers. I actually think it's gone above 2,950 at the moment. I haven't really checked. So let's see if there are any new teams. So thanks, Luca Thompson, for your team. Really good team in my opinion, but as mentioned, the Dorgu pick, I'm not really sure. But if there are any Man United experts, correct me if I'm wrong. As mentioned, Holland captaincy. This team should do well. So no new teams. Let's have a quick look at my team. So my actual team is Van de Ven. I don't actually have Welbeck. I can just press reset. I'm not a big fan of the new FPL site, to be honest, but we'll probably get used to it. It's not really good for visuals like live streams like this. Don't think that it's that easy to fit the team into the screen. Doesn't really look that good as it did last season, but I'll probably need to do something with my graphics and make the picture a bit wider and probably make the other graphics a bit smaller. Let's go to the pick my team tab. I think that the team looks a bit better in that one. Hey, why did you decide no Palmer, no Salah? Who can be a good 4.5 midfielder? I take your question, Martin, in a minute. I don't really think that there are any good starting 4.5 midfielders in the chat, and I've actually had a team up on the screen with Josh King from Fulham. Check him out. He has been rumored to have a really good preseason this summer for Fulham and is a potential starter. I'm not really sure. I haven't really checked into Josh King that much myself, but if you really need a starting 4.5, he could be an option, but as mentioned, you need to do some research. I'll probably do some research on Josh King myself just to see if he is a viable option, but he has been mentioned. I have why I don't have Cole Palmer or Mo Salah. I actually have Cole Palmer. He is my vice captain. So Cole Palmer is actually one of the players that haven't really left my team since I made my first draft. So Cole Palmer, he is locked in. The reason why I don't have Salah is because I really like what you can do with spreading the funds a bit more. I think that Bowen is a really good pick. Watkins as well. I think that Wirtz is a good cover for the Liverpool attack, especially seeing that he is on corners for Liverpool. And I have Saka. I don't really fancy the game in Game Week 1, but I think that Saka is a really good captain option in Game Week 2. Arsenal playing at home against Leeds. What do you think of bench boost Game Week 1? I think bench boosting in Game Week 1 is a really good tactic this season, especially seeing we have 2 bench boosts. I actually liked playing bench boost in Game Week 1 earlier as well, but I've always waited until a double game week, but some seasons this has been a fail, so using the bench boost in game week 1 is a good strategy. I will use my first bench boost in game week 2. I really like the fixture for Burnley at home against Sunderland, so I will have Dubravka, I will have Estev. They will mostly stay on my bench, but they will be ready for their good fixture in game week 2, and I can just keep them on my bench after this. The bench boost in game week 2 is the reason why I have Arias. I think that he is a decent punt. Love ownership. Was the talisman for Fluminense. I actually watched a couple of Fluminense games in the Club World Cup and he looked really good. And the thing is that Cunha, he has left Wolves and we're not really sure who is their first choice penalty taker. I think that it will probably be Strand Larsen or Wang, and it actually potentially can be Arias as well. I think that he scored like 8 out of 9 penalties in the last seasons, so hopefully he can be involved in the set pieces for Wolves. Hey TFS, I have sent my team. So I actually have sent you my... Hey TFS, I actually have sent you my time, so there has to be a new time. Be a sub on YouTube and followed over on X as well. Good luck on your YouTube journey. Thanks, Batch Mode. Really appreciated. Thanks for joining in. I'm not really sure what this first comment meant. Have you sent you my... it probably means team. Okay, I'll go check the latest post. But just to summarize, I like bench boost in game week 1 if you can set up a good team. Wan-Bissaka or Konsa, which is the better option in your opinion? Price is the same. Yeah, both priced at 4.5. I think that Wan-Bissaka, he has the potential for... I think that the reason why Wan-Bissaka has close to 30% ownership is, of course, because of the defensive contribution points. He will pick up a lot of them. I think that he... with the amount of tackles he has in a game, I think that he will get the +2 a fair share of the games. Konsa, really good fixtures for Aston Villa. I know that the fixture in game week 1 against Newcastle is probably not the best, but after this they have really good fixtures. So at the moment, I would potentially lean towards Konsa, especially if you're in a situation like me and you can bench Konsa for game week 1. I think that Konsa is a really good option for a 4.5 defender rotation. Yeah, another point when it comes to Wan-Bissaka, I actually have a West Ham defender in my team as well, but I've gone for Diouf playing on the left-hand side. I think that he is a viable option, a bit of a differential, and he has looked really good during the preseason. Things with Wan-Bissaka, one thing I can tell you is that if West Ham looks terrible in the first couple of fixtures, he will definitely quickly drop down to 4.4. Hi, new to this channel, I uploaded my team. Can you check, please? Yes, in a minute, I'll go check the new posts over on X. So if you're interested, I have time for more team ratings. So head over to X. It's the same name at X as on YouTube. It's FPLTFS. So go post a picture of your team and I'll get it up on the screen. Will Andre Santos be a good pick for 4.5 million? I'd say no, he's not nailed on. A really good player, but not a good FPL option at the moment. I think there has to be more injuries for him to become nailed. So at the moment, I would stay away. Replied to your tweet with my team, Simon Firth. Thanks. I meant team. We're good. Let's have a look. I'll just refresh this page real quick. Let's see if I can find those teams. New team FPL corner. New team, Mr. Moore FPL. 2. So let's take this one. The FPL corner on X. Let's have a look. Thing is that when you have a different name on X and on YouTube, makes it kind of hard to know which teams we are looking at. But let me know in the chat if this is your team. This is FPL corner. As mentioned, you just have to bear with me when it comes to the visuals. I'm not really good at... There are a lot of different formats as well, so I'm taking some seconds to get a good shot of your team. There we go. That's mine, batch mode. This is the FPL corner over at X batch mode in the chat. Kelleher and Areola. Good options, rotating 4.5s. There could actually be a small issue with your goalkeeping selection. Kelleher, he might miss out in game week 1, but Areola will come in. Areola, is he 100% sure to play every game for West Ham? They signed Hermansen. I'm not really sure why, but West Ham, they have actually been hunting a new goalkeeper all summer. They tried to get the goalkeeper from the Brazilian league, Botafogo, John Victor. So I think that Areola at some point actually might lose his spot. We saw this last season with Fabianski as well. Areola, for an extended period, he actually got benched, but I think that this is good to go for the start of the season, and hopefully Kelleher will play in game week 1. Wan-Bissaka, solid option. Guardiola, same with Kelleher. He has actually been rumored to miss out in game week 1. Aina, not my favorite Nottingham Forest defender. I like Williams better at the same price. And if you have the possibility, I would like to actually upgrade to Murillo or Milenkovic at 5.5, but of course Aina, solid pick, one of the most selected defenders, so you can't really go wrong. But I think that he is a bit overhyped, to be honest. He had a couple of lucky assists last season, and that goal he scored was absolutely ridiculous, so don't expect Aina to have the same amount of attacking returns this season. Kudus, strong option. Johnson punt, I like this as well. There are a lot of injuries over at Spurs, so they will most probably start with Kudus up front together with Richarlison and Solanke on the bench in game week 1. So Johnson, I think he's only selected by 2%, something like that. So I think that he actually is a good punt for the start of the season. NGI 6.5, Everton midfielder on set pieces. Gakpo, Cole Palmer. So there are a lot of punts in this team, but strong options in my opinion. Gakpo will start, NGI will start, Johnson will start, Kudus will start, and of course Cole Palmer. Up front, Erling Haaland, captain, and Jared Bowen. I actually really like this team. And on the bench, Van de Ven, Welbeck, Konsa. Definitely strong enough bench boosts in game week 1 team. I really like this. You will get benching headaches in the coming game weeks. Of course, you have to bench a 6.5 million player in game week 2. Potentially Johnson against Man City. Van de Ven next game week. Can't really fault this team. I think that you probably spent a bit much on the bench, so I think that this bench boost in game week 1 can be costly. So you will have a lot of your budget on your bench in the coming game weeks, but you will potentially get a really good start with this team. But pay attention to Kelleher and Guardiola. I'll get some more teams up on the screen in a minute. Sort of, Paul, will Livramento be a good option for 5 million? I don't think Livramento is a good option at the moment, to be honest. Of course, the price is good, 5 million. He looked really good at the end of last season, but this was mostly due to the injuries to Trippier and Lewis Hall. But Trippier, he is back. Lewis Hall, he is back fit. So I don't think that Livramento will start week in, week out. So he is an avoid for me at the moment. There are better options at 5 million, and I would potentially get someone like Aina, who is in this team, or my preferred option would be Williams. This team is a bench boost in game week 1. I think it's good. I like this team, but my problem with this team is that it's a bit much of the budget spent on the bench. I don't really like benching a 6.5 player. Batch mode, thanks for the input. I will make sure to check on your content. Bye for now. Thanks for joining in. So this was Batch mode's team with a plan to bench boost in game week 1. The FPL corner over at X. If you're interested in a quick review, post your team on my latest post. There have been a couple of new teams, so I'll just jump straight into the next one. This is, let's have a look. Nash, we're seeing 11. Mr. More FPL. Can't really see your bench, but I guess it's Mark Guihi. Probably someone like Renildo, I guess, on the bench. Potentially Guihi, first defender, and Dubravka. Mateta, tough game in game week 1, but to be honest, Mateta, he is actually in my team at the moment as well. Watkins, really strong option. Again, no. This is like the 7th time this happens during the stream. I'm really sorry. No audio. I'll quickly go check if I can find another cable. Be back in 1 minute. Where is audio? It's working now. I'm terribly sorry about the audio. This has happened a couple of times, more than a couple, to be honest, during this stream. Not really sure what's happening. I'm not touching my microphone nor the wire, so couldn't find a new cable at the moment. I'll try to fix a new one ahead of the deadline stream tomorrow. It's kind of annoying, not really sure what's happening. If you have any advice, please post in the chat. Bench is Richards, Reinildo, Guehi. So I was really close. You had Richards instead of Guehi. Please repeat advice on my team. Didn't hear it. My guess was that you had Guehi, Reinildo, and Guehi, but this was Richards instead of Guehi. I like this team. I think it's solid. I like that you're covering the Forest defense. Milenkovic, I think that he actually is the best option. Pedro Porro, a really good option as well. I have actually been looking at a way to get Pedro Porro into my team, so this is why I have the option in the poll at the moment. Anderson, solid 4.5. Tielemans, I really like him as well. Good option at 6 million. He might actually potentially be the first choice penalty taker for Aston Villa, so I think this team is strong. Dewsbury Hall, I'm not really sold on him, but of course a good fixture in game week 1, and he might be on some set pieces. So I can't really fault this team, to be honest. Solid bench. I talked about Guehi a couple of times during this stream. There is a slight risk involved going with Guehi as your 4.5 fodder. Even though if he blanks, he will potentially drop down to 4.5 really soon. So, of course, there is an opportunity for him to do really well. Then he will be a good bandwagon and have a couple of price rises as well. So I think that he is a solid pick. It was between Porro and Munoz, starting with Porro. I think that Porro is a really good option at the moment, to be honest, seeing you have Richards to cover the Crystal Palace defense as well. I think that's fine. In game week 3, if prices work, I'll do Saka to Bruno and Tielemans to Rodgers. Strong options, Saka with a tough fixture, Bruno, really good game and a captain option in game week 3. I really like Saka for game week 3 at home against Leeds. This is one of the reasons why I'm starting with Saka this year as well. I think that he potentially is the best captain option next game week. So as mentioned, strong team, can't really fault it. A couple of punts mixed with some solid template picks in midfield. So I like this team. You have covered most bases with the Nottingham Forest defense. Sanchez, Porro, Anderson. I think this is a solid team. Martin cares, what's your opinion about Konsa worth it for rotation? Definitely think that Konsa is worth it. 4.5 good price playing for a solid team, and he's nailed on. So I actually have Konsa myself at the moment. Don't like the fixture in game week 1 against Newcastle, so he is currently on my bench, but I definitely think that he is one of the best rotating 4.5 options at the moment. Mahmoud Allah, Saka and Bruno, or Palmer and Wirtz. I have Salah and Joao Pedro. Seeing you have Salah, I would probably go Saka and Bruno. There is a risk involved actually going against Cole Palmer this season. He is the most selected player. The thing is that even though Cole Palmer is the most selected player, he will probably not have the highest effective ownership in Game Week 1. I'm pretty sure this will be Mo Salah. He will potentially get close to 100% effective ownership. So ownership is how many managers have him in your team. The effective ownership is when you count in the captaincy. I think that the players with Mo Salah will most probably captain him. So seeing him owned by 35%, this will probably be something like 70. And when we count in the triple captains as well, his ownership can potentially be 90 and close to 100 as well. Will Baleba be good? I'm not really sure. There have been some transfer rumors about Baleba. In Game Week 1, I tend to stay away from players that's rumored to leave or just recently joined a new club. We've seen this with Alexander Isak. We've seen it with Visa as well. So at the moment, I would probably wait. Joe Pedro is more popular than Salah at the moment. This is a bit surprising, to be honest. When the game first launched, Joe Pedro, he was the most selected player, but his ownership went a bit down. We saw more FPL managers change to the likes of Visa and Solanke, but after the news that Visa is not playing in Game Week 1, we know Alexander Isak will not play as well. Solanke, he has had an ankle injury, so he will potentially not start in Game Week 1. So we see some of those players that had those three in their teams, they've gone back to João Pedro. I'm kind of surprised that players like Mateta, especially, and Chris Wood as well, is not more popular. But of course, João Pedro, he will potentially be a really good FPL asset, will start most games. The only worry for me when it comes to João Pedro is that he will, I will say most probably be limited to 60, 70 minutes because they newly signed the lap as well. So can't really see the lap being benched for every game week and only play 10 minutes. They spent a lot of money on him as well. Martin, choose João Pedro, Arun. Not sure which 7.5 million striker to go for. I have doubts about all of them. Should I downgrade Sels to Verbruggen, then go up to Jared Bowen? So if you don't have Jared Bowen and you're unsure about which 7.5 forward you would go for, I really like the option of going for Jared Bowen, to be honest, but I don't really like the downgrade of Sels to Verbruggen. Is there any other way to save 0.5 to make the upgrade to Jared Bowen? If you're interested, go post a picture of your team over at X and I'll get it up on the screen. I have the same username on X as on YouTube. It's FPLTFS. There's only one issue with João Pedro, according to Martin. I'm scared he will get subbed around 70 because the lap will come in. Yeah, this is exactly my problem with João Pedro as well. I can't really see the lap rot on the bench. He joined Chelsea this summer. Big money move from Ipswich. Did well for them last season. So I can't really see the lap not getting game time. So we can potentially see João Pedro playing behind the lap in some games, at least at the end of some games. But this is my worry about João Pedro as well. Shall I buy Caicedo 5.5? Not for me. I don't like those players that heavily rely on defensive contributions. The thing is that the I really need to find another USB cable. I just tried to talk about Caicedo as a pick. It was mentioned in the chat if Caicedo is a good FPL option. In my opinion, he is too heavily relying on defensive contributions. So I'm not sure if the audio was gone when I said this, but I think that the maximum potential for Caicedo in a game week is 5 points. If Chelsea pick up a clean sheet and he get defensive contributions, he gets 2 points for appearance, 1 for the clean sheet, and he will get another 2 points for defensive contributions. So not really explosive, not much attacking output from Caicedo. So if you want a 5.5 midfielder, I like actually Anderson at Forest even better because of the set pieces. He's actually taking corners for Nottingham Forest. Appreciate the advice, agree with your opinions I've heard so far. Good content. Really appreciate the feedback. Thanks for saying that. Really kind. Good content. I'm really glad you say that. I'm a bit afraid about my microphone at the moment. It's not really good content when the sound is missing. But please let me know in the chat if my voice disappears. I'm not really sure what's going on with my microphone. I just had to unplug it and plug it back in when the audio is gone. It's really weird because I'm not really touching my microphone at all. So would you recommend Sanchez, Williams and Jared Bowen instead of Sels, Tarkowski and Wood? Yes, option A would be my preferred option. I think it's really close between Sanchez and Sels, and you cover the Nottingham Forest defense by having Williams and Jared Bowen. I think that he is a really good option. He's actually my captain for game week 1, so I would definitely go Sanchez, Williams and Jared Bowen. Let's have a look if there are any new teams. Which one is better? Edwin, we've seen that one. Luca Thompson, we talked about this. FPL Dope. Let's have a look at this team. Loiki, Luke 55436517. Yeah, that's good enough, I'd say. So in the chat, Luke, let me know if you're still here, and let's have a look at this team. Double up. No audio, LL. Yeah, it's a big L. I'm really sorry about the audio. It's been bothering me all night. So I'm really sorry about that. I was just discussing the Nottingham Forest defense and that they have so many well-owned options at the moment. Sells, Williams and Aina at 5 million, and they have the 5.5 options in Murillo and Milenkovic as well. So there is actually a risk going without Nottingham Forest defense. There are a lot of teams with double ups from the Nottingham Forest defense, and tonight we've actually seen some triple ups on their defense as well. So I think that we actually should include Nottingham Forest defenders in our teams. Pedro Porro, I really like him, and this is the reason for the poll as well. I actually have Van de Ven and Mateta at the moment, but I'm considering downgrading Mateta to Welbeck to upgrade Van de Ven to Pedro Porro. The poll is telling me otherwise. It's the favorite option at the moment is Van de Ven, Mateta, and this is what I'm leaning towards, to be honest. Diouf, my favorite West Ham defender. Gakpo, I like Gakpo as well. He's gone a bit under the radar. Of course, Mo Salah, he's always popular, and Wirtz, the new shiny toy, has been discussed a lot. But I think that Gakpo is a really strong option. He will start for Liverpool, and he will take penalties if Mo Salah is not on the pitch. So Gakpo is a really good option in my opinion. Bruno Fernandes, solid FPL option. Saka, I have Saka as well, mostly because of the fixture in Gameweek 2. He will most probably be my captain when Arsenal play at home against Leeds. Cole Palmer is in. Rodgers, really strong picks in this team, to be honest. Watkins, Jared Bowen. So this team, I can't really fault this team. Really strong core kind of template, but I like the inclusion of Diouf. I like Pedro Porro over Van de Ven as well. So who's the best 4.5 defender to pair with Anderson? I think it probably would be Diouf from West Ham or Konsa from Aston Villa. Kind of depends if you're just rotating those two or if you have them in a three-way rotation like my team. But Anderson, Diouf, I can't really remember if it's Fulham, West Ham, or if it's Crystal Palace, West Ham. So go check. You can really early spot the good rotations this season because it's the good rotation pairs. They are starting actually from game week 1 and game week 2. So I think that Anderson rotates good with Diouf, Konsa, and actually with Crystal Palace as well. So there are a lot of good rotation pairs with Fulham this season. What's your opinion on Strand Larsen? I think that he is the main man for Wolves at the moment. We're not really sure who is the first choice penalty taker for Wolves. Cunha, he has left, so they kind of need a new talisman. I'm not really sure that Wang Hee-chan is ready to step up. So Strand Larsen did really well last season, scored a lot of goals. He did well in Spain before joining Wolves as well. So I think that Strand Larsen is a really good option. Tough game in game week 1, of course, but after this, I think that he potentially can do really well. Good price as well. Can you rate my team after this one, please? Masterman, what's your handle over at X? I think you've been waiting for... Is Josh King a good buy? I've actually discussed Josh King during the stream. I've not seen that much from Josh King during the preseason, to be honest. So I'm not really sure, but there was a guy in the chat that said he has done really well this preseason. So I can't really confirm it, but there are rumors about Josh King and that he potentially will start most games for Fulham. But I'm not really sure, to be honest. But go check his minutes during preseason. I think that if he started most games, he is probably a good option. But I checked his stats from last season, only started one game. So if he has established himself as a starter during the summer, then he potentially is a good option. 4.5. I wouldn't trust Josh King to play week in, week out for my FPL team, but he probably is a decent 4.5 fodder on the bench. Masterman, please let me know in Masterman 240. Okay, audio gone. Hopefully the audio is back. Can you rate my team as well, please, Michael? Definitely. So I'll go over to X to check out Masterman 240. At first, I think that I'm really sorry, Masterman. I think that you've been waiting for a while, so I will definitely go check out your team. Maybe I'll need to refresh the browser to get your team on the screen. Masterman 240. Just worried about Watkins. We'll have a look at this Michael Kotze in a minute. Martin Chaos, sending you my team to analyze. We'll have a look at this as well, Martin. Thanks for sending in. There you go. You have been lost into the spam section. Really sorry, Masterman. Let's have a look at your team. So this is Masterman 240. Sells in goal, double up once again. Nottingham Forest defense with Nico Williams. Diouf in defense, Kukurea, 6 million defender, Dorgu and Richards. I have discussed Dorgu earlier on this stream. I'm not really sure if he will start week in, week out for Man United, but I watched a couple of games during preseason and he looked really good when he was on the pitch. But in the recent game for Man United, they started what looked like their strongest team and Dorgu was benched in that game. So please let me know in the chat if there are any Man United experts, but I'm not really sure if Dorgu is nailed on to start, to be honest. I think there are better 4.5 options and that there actually are a lot of good 4.5 options this season, like Anderson. He has been discussed. Konsa from Aston Villa as well. All things sports. I am the Michael Kotze draft. We'll have a look at this after this one. Vitz in midfield for Masterman, Palmer as well, Saka, Bruno Fernandes, Reinders. In this picture there are some players missing, but I guess the Wolves player, of course, this has to be Strand Larsen, Mateta, Ollie Watkins. So strong attack. I just talked about Strand Larsen. I think that he's a decent option. I'm not really sure about Reinders, but in the chat there have been some FPL managers talking warm words about Reinders, so I may have to analyze him a bit better. I've seen a lot of talk about him over at X. Some are saying that he's a really good pick. Some are saying that he is a trap. My take on this is that I will probably stay away from him for the start of the season, but it will be really easy to get him in at that price, 5.5, so I can potentially downgrade one in midfield if he looks like a good FPL asset. So I like this team, ready for a bench boost, but I would like to check Dorgu's minutes during preseason and go to the Man United forum to check if he is in their predicted starting 11 for game week 1. I chose Nico Gonzalez over Reinders. What do you think? I would actually prefer Reinders over Nico Gonzalez. Reinders, he actually has a history of scoring goals from Italy, so I know that he has good stats from the Serie A, so it's not like he's being picked out of the blue, so he has a history of scoring goals. At least we know that Nico Gonzalez don't have much attacking output. He will potentially pick up defensive contribution points, but at the moment I would go Reinders over Nico Gonzalez, but to be honest I would probably just stay away from both. Please give a 4.5 million midfielder. The thing is that this season there aren't that many strong options in the 4.5 midfield section. Most of the midfielders that earlier have been priced at 4.5, they have increased in price and gone up to 5 or 5.5. So this is of course due to the defensive contribution points and the new rules and the point scoring system. I think this is good, but if you want a starting 4.5, a name that has been thrown out is Josh King from Wolves. I'm not really sure if he is a good FPL option. Only started one game last season, but I can't really remember who said it, but in the chat he has gotten a lot of praise for his game in preseason for Fulham. So go check out Josh King. Other than that, I don't really like the 4.5 midfield options this season. So I think that it's probably better to go for a 3-5-2 with Mark Guehi. King from Fulham is a good shout. He has been mentioned a couple of times. I've seen him mentioned over at X as well. But to be honest, I haven't really watched him play, so I will just mention him, but I will not take the praise if he does well, and I don't want to be battered if he doesn't start. So that's my take on Josh King at the moment. Masterman, I'm a United fan and I trust in him. So yeah, Dorgu, if you think that he will be nailed on in the Man United defense, then of course I really like this team. Strong, can't really fault it. And if you want Dorgu, go for it. So which team did I say I was going? Was it this team? Really appreciate posting your teams in the comments. Only problem is that it's getting kind of hard to keep track of which teams I've talked about and which teams are new. Maki, hello mate. Hello, thanks for joining in. So this is Michael Kotze. Let's have a look. I'll get this team a bit bigger, try to zoom a bit, make the visuals. Another team with Reinders in. Strand Larsen as well. The last 4 teams have had Strand Larsen. Tough game in game week 1, but I like him as an option. Sanchez in goal. Diouf, Pedro Porro, Nico Williams. Really strong defense in my opinion. No 6 million defenders, but I like those picks. Saka in midfield together with Cole Palmer, Mo Salah captain, and the double up from the Liverpool attack with Wirtz. Up front, Joe Pedro and Strand Larsen. I like this team. It's really, really different from my own team. I don't have Strand Larsen. I don't have Joe Pedro. I don't have Salah. Don't have Reinders. Don't have Nico Williams, Porro, or Sanchez. So we only have 3 of the same players, but I can't really fault this, to be honest. We can't have them all, and this team looks really strong. Can't really see our bench. Can't really see your bench, so can't really comment on the bench boost possibilities for this team. But this starting 11 is, if you trust Reinders, then this team is really, really strong in my opinion. I'm just not convinced with Reinders. As mentioned, I have read some mixed reviews and some are really positive, some think that he is a trap. Do you think Nico Williams and Rutter or Reinders Murillo is the best option. I would probably go Nico Williams and Rutter instead of Reinders and Murillo, to be honest. I've actually read some good things about Jorginho Rutter, that he actually is the most nailed on in the Brighton attack, and that he can play in most positions in their attack, and that he potentially can be their penalty taker. I think that Welbeck is first choice, but he has been rumored to see a bit of rotation this season, just to like manage his minutes to keep him fit. So I think that Williams and Jorginho probably is the better options, to be honest. My bench is Dubravka, Richards, Estev, and Guihi. Would it be safer to go Anderson instead of Randers? In my opinion, it's really hard to pick between the 5.5 options, to be honest, but I think that Reinders could be a really good pick or a really bad pick. I think Anderson is safer. He will pick up defensive contribution points, and he is on set pieces for Nottingham Forest. So I think that he will potentially pick up some 5-pointers, 8-pointers here and there, but mostly 1 and 2-pointers. The thing is with Reinders that he has the potential to actually score goals. I'm not really convinced. I think it's really hard selecting between the 5.5 options, and this is actually why I have no 5.5 options in my team. I have gone for Arias, a real punt. He will be benched in game week 1 against Man City, but he will play for me in game week 2 when I will play my bench boost. So 5.5, I think that this is a really tough spot to pick at the moment. I haven't really watched enough of Reinders, but as mentioned, I've seen a lot of threads over at X, and some are saying that he is underpriced, and some are saying that he is a big trap. So my take, as mentioned, is to actually just wait and see. Yeah, thank you. Yeah, and only 0.9 ownership. Yeah, for 5.5, I went Mal. What do you think? I think that's good. 5.5. I've actually had him in a couple of drafts, but they signed a new attacking midfielder. So I actually read that he, just after the game launched, Mal, he was like, especially in the FPL community on X, he was like in every team because of the price, but I haven't really seen him that much recently. So I think that he's a punt, could be a really good option, but at the moment I think it's safer to stay away. But if you really need a player and all of the other players in your team is locked in, I think that he is a good option, but I would probably find a way to have another setup and avoid this price point, to be honest. I can go Sar and Van de Ven instead of Porro and Reinders. I think that potentially having Van de Ven and Sar instead of Porro and Reinders is a good option. It's similar to my dilemma as well. At the moment, I have Van de Ven and Mateta. I'm considering to get Welbeck to upgrade to Pedro Porro, but I'm leaning towards just keeping Van de Ven and having Mateta in. So an option for you is potentially to do as you suggested, just downgrade Pedro Porro to Van de Ven and upgrade. So just to finish with this team, I like your team, solid bench. I like your suggestion of downgrading to Van de Ven and upgrading to Sar. But of course, if you think that Reinders will do well, then just start the season with Reinders. But my take on him is to actually wait and see how Man City line up. He might be playing a bit deeper than most expect because of the Rodri injury. So I mentioned this a couple of times. I read some threads about Reinders over at X. Some are saying that he potentially is a bargain, and some are saying that he is a big trap. So my take is to wait and see. No audio. I'm really sorry, terribly sorry about the audio problem. I'm not really sure why this is happening. I have a USB microphone. I'm not touching the microphone, not touching the cable, but every 15 minutes the audio seems to just stop and I have to unplug and plug the wire back in. Not sure why it happens. Really appreciate you letting me know in the chat that the audio is gone so I can fix it really quick. I need to find another cable before the deadline stream tomorrow. But I'm not sure if you heard this, but if you're interested, go head over to X and post a picture of your team under my recent posts. Head over to X, same handle as on YouTube, it's FPLTFS, and post a picture of your team on my latest post, and I'll get the picture up on the screen. Thank you very much for all the comments, all things sports. Thanks for posting your team, really strong team, good discussion. Hopefully this team will do well in game week 1. Strong, solid picks with a couple of differentials and at the same time covering the most essential stuff like the Nottingham Forest defense. I think that we should include, I mentioned this a couple of times, I think that we should include at least one Nottingham Forest defender. If they keep a clean sheet in game week 1, you will be playing catch up. So there are a lot of teams in the comments. I remember some of them, but let me know if I scroll right through your team. I'm starting to lose some track of which teams we talked about and which teams are new, to be honest. So in the chat, please let me know if I haven't had a look at your team, and please let me know your handle at X as well. It will be easier for me to find the actual team. New entry to my mini league. If you're interested, go join my mini league as well. The link is in... I don't really think the link is in the description, but you can find it over at X, and the code for the mini league is in the scrolling text at the bottom. So if you're interested, go join that league. There is actually a small prize, £50 for the winner. So go join the league if you think you have what it takes. New team posted. I guess this is you then, Stavrum. Nico Crypto X set. Let's have a look. Thanks, just posted. Is this your team on the screen? Crypto X set. I'll try to get this a bit more in center like this. Perfect. This is your team. Another team with Sanchez, double Forest defense. I've seen this so much this evening, and a double from Spurs as well. This is more of a differential, Pedro Porro and Van de Ven. I like both. I actually have Van de Ven at the moment, but I'm really considering upgrading Van de Ven to Pedro Porro, so having them both, of course, I really like that. Captain Wirtz, big punt. You have Gakpo. I really like this team so far. Gakpo, I think that he's probably a bit underrated, to be honest. There have been so much talk about Mo Salah, so much talk about the new shiny toy Wirtz, but Gakpo, he is there, he will start. So he is a solid option in my opinion. So Wirtz, Gakpo, I have seen Wirtz in a lot of team. I have him myself, but not seen him that frequently captained. So this is a punt. Really like it. And up front, Joe Pedro Watkins, and a triple up actually from the Liverpool attack with Ekitike. So this team, I really like it. Differential team covering what actually seems to be most important at the moment, covering the Nottingham Forest defense at home against Brentford. Brentford, they struggle at the moment. Thanks for letting me know about the audio. I can fix it straight away when you post it in the chat. Hopefully it was just a small glitch. This has been happening all night, so it's really frustrating. Not sure what's happening. I mentioned this a couple of times for those of you who have been on for some minutes now, but I'm not sure what's happening with my microphone. I'm not touching it, not touching the wire, so hopefully this will be fixed until tomorrow. But I just went into the picture and found your bench. This is a bench boost team. Let's see if I can get the whole team on the screen. There we go. I really like this team, to be honest. Aggressive, as mentioned from Stavrum. I like the double up on Nottingham Forest and the double up from Spurs in defense. Sanchez is a solid option as well. I like the differential captain in Wirtz. Cole Palmer, a solid pick, of course, and Gakpo is a bit underrated in my opinion. Ekitike up top, triple up from Liverpool is actually a differential. I haven't really seen that much triple ups from Liverpool, but there is of course a slight risk tripling up on a team, of course, because you need a bit of luck if all of them returns. But if we see 4-5-0 to Liverpool in game week 1, then you will probably get a lot of points from this attacking trio. The bench is strong as well. Verbruggen, he will start against Fulham. Diouf is a really good option and has a really good fixture against Sunderland. Reinders, he has been discussed a lot tonight on this stream. I'm not really convinced about Reinders, to be honest. I would potentially try to find a way to avoid Reinders, but if you think that he will do well, then of course go for him. And Marmoush is in my team as well, and on some set pieces for Man City, so I think that he is a good alternative to the expensive Erling Haaland at 14 million. So strong team, I really like it. This is a game week 1 bench boost, free hit in game week 2, and wildcard in game week 3. Aggressive start can potentially give you a really good start this season. What I like about playing the bench boost early this season is that we can potentially have a fodder on our bench, 4.5 attacker or a 4.5 midfielder, and spend more money on the rest of the team. So I like this strategy and I really like this team. What I don't like is to lock in my wildcard in game week 3. It can potentially be needed later on. I like having the wildcard available between game week 5 and game week 3. Game week 4 wildcard. I like this a bit better than the game week 3 wildcard. I just realized that the audio was gone again. I'm not really sure if you got my message about the wildcard. I'm not really a fan of locking in the wildcard that early because you may actually need your wildcard later on. So my plan is to just save the wildcard. I will potentially use it before game week 13 because we will be given 5 new transfers ahead of AFCON this season. So audio gone again. Terribly sorry for the audio glitch on this stream. Hopefully it will be better next time. I think the microphone is fine. It's just something about the connection. I'm not really sure what it is because I'm not really touching any of the wires or my microphone. So if you have any tips on how to fix this, if you have experienced something similar, please let me know in the chat. So Stavron, thanks for your team. Really strong. I like, as mentioned, the defense. I'm really interested in both Pero Porro and Van de Ven. I will probably just go for one of them. Do you think Mykolenko is playing in game week 1? He's rumored to be ready for game week 1. What I don't like about Mykolenko is the fact that at the moment, Branthwaite, he looks to miss the first games of the season with a hamstring injury. So I think that the Everton defense is a bit weakened. So I would stay away from Everton defense, to be honest, both Tarkovsky and Mykolenko. And I think that 5.5 is probably a bit too much. I would rather double up on Nottingham Forest by selecting Milenkovic or Murillo. If you're already triple up, I don't necessarily think you are, but if you're already triple up or don't want Nottingham Forest defender, I think that probably Munoz at 5.5 is a better option than Mykolenko at the moment. For MEFC, Malen or Reinders or Harry Wilson, best for first 7 game weeks. For me, I think that Wilson is a great punt for the start of the season. Has done really well during preseason and is rumored to start. He is in the predicted lineup for Fulham. He's actually been a super sub for Fulham last couple of seasons, but I think that he will start for Fulham, so I think that he is a really good option. I'm not really sold on Reinders. As mentioned earlier, I've read some mixed reviews about his FPL credentials, so I know that he has scored a lot of goals earlier in Italy, but he's rumored to not have the same role in the Man City team, especially now with Rodri injured, so I will just wait and see. When it comes to Reinders, Malen as well, he has been really popular in the FPL community, and in the last couple of weeks his ownership has gone a bit down, and he has been rumored to see some rotation as well. So they're at that price for a reason. Not the best picks, but good punts, and my favorite out of those at the moment is actually Harry Wilson. I've had some audio problems during the stream. I talked about Mykolenko. Albert Anderson is Mykolenko. Do you think he will play for game week 1? I think that he potentially will play, but I don't think that he is a really good option at the moment. They have some injuries in defense. Branthwaite, he will be missing, and I think that there are better 5.5 options. I would go for a Nottingham Forest option, Milenkovic or Murillo, or potentially head to Munoz, the Palace right wing back. So this is my team at the moment on the screen. I have Mats Sells mostly just to cover the Nottingham Forest defense. No other Forest defender for me. I have Van Dijk, Diouf and Van de Ven. In midfield, Saka, he will be my captain in game week 2. I have Marmoush, Cole Palmer and Wirtz, and up front Jared Bowen, my captain for game week 1. I'm willing to take a punt going without Mo Salah, without Erling Haaland. My captain will be Jared Bowen. Watkins is in and Mateta is in. I have been considering to downgrade Mateta to Welbeck and upgrade Van de Ven to Pedro Porro. At the moment, the poll is telling me to just keep Van de Ven, keep Mateta, stay away from Welbeck and Pedro Porro. Could you look at my team, Eric Willie? Could you look at my team? I'm still sweetering, want to include Saka, but haven't yet. If you're interested in a team review, head over to X, post a picture of your team under my recent post over at X, and I'll get your team up on the screen. So this was Nico on X, Stavrum in the chat. Strong team. If you see on the graphics on the right hand side, I have listed the top 3 anytime goal scorer and the top 3 expected clean sheets, and Spurs, they are actually favorites for clean sheet odds according to the bookies for game week 1. So doubling up on the Spurs defense might be a really good idea. Let's see if we can find your team, Eric. A lot of good teams in the comments. A lot of similar teams. What I've seen a lot this evening is especially Sanchez in goal, Sells in goal. A lot of double ups on the Forest defense. Please let me know what your X handle is. Didn't really find your team at first glance. Maybe I just scrolled right. FPL FOMO, Michael Werner, and Matthias. try to refresh the page. Maybe just needed a quick refresh. Let's have a look. FPL Gump. Maybe I did it wrong. Eric, really, I didn't really find your team, to be honest. I just had a look. I'll have a quick check once again. This is FPL Gump, Herkney. Audio gone again. Hopefully it's back. Thanks for letting me know. I was just talking about Rodgers. Do you know the status of Rodgers? At least he's rumored to start. He's in the predictor lineup. I think that he's really important for Aston Villa, and Emery loves him. So I think that if Rodgers can walk, I think that he will play for Aston Villa. Can you please analyze my team, Martin? Maybe you can help me find a way to improve the team with 1 extra million. Martin, okay. Definitely, I've seen your team. Let's have a look. This is it. Sending you my team to analyze. I've got 1 million left in the bank, which I'm a bit worried that it's not used. You posted this 45 minutes ago. I'm terribly sorry that we haven't talked about your team before now. I'm seen your team a couple of times while scrolling through the comments, but I just missed it, and I'm really sorry about that. Eric, Willie, if you just try to post your team, we can analyze Martin's team before we take a look at your team, Eric. But Sanchez in goal, Milenkovic, Van Bissaka and Van de Ven. This has been really popular tonight on this stream, having a Spurs defender, West Ham, Van Bissaka or Diouf, and of course a Nottingham Forest defender with Sanchez in goal. So I really like this defense. Bruno Fernandes, proven FPL asset. Cole Palmer in midfield together with captain Mo Salah and Jai Anderson and Joe Pedro Watkins. So solid picks. Konsa, Esteve, Mark Guihi, Dubravka. With 1 million in the bank, the first thing that comes to mind is that I'm not a really big fan. I've talked about this a couple of times. I'm not a really big fan of the 5.5 spot in midfield. So with 1 million, I would probably upgrade Anderson to someone like Sar from Crystal Palace, to be honest. Another option is, of course, if you want to spend more of the budget in defense. I've talked about Pedro Porro as well. So with 1 million, another option is to upgrade Van de Ven to Pedro Porro. Looked really good in the last friendly for Spurs and taking most set pieces now with Madison out injured. So I really like upgrading Van de Ven to Porro for 1 million, and I also like upgrading Anderson to someone like Sar at 6.5. Do you think not having a 6 million defender is a mistake? I don't necessarily see not having a 6 million defender as a mistake, but this is a price point with a lot of options. So, of course, this is actually one of the reasons why I have Van Dijk in my team. There are a lot of potential good 6 million defenders, like we have Frimpong, we have Ait Nouri, we have White at Arsenal. Players like this, if we get some injuries in Liverpool defense, Arsenal defense, Man City defense, and if one of those 6 million wingbacks gets definitely nailed, then I think that having an easy way to get them in is a good strategy. So this is one of the benefits with starting with a 6 million defender, in my opinion. If Andy Robertson gets a long-term injury, then I think Kirkis at 6 million would all of a sudden become a really, really good option. At the moment, with both of them fit, I think that they will share minutes. So hopefully you got my point about the 6 million defender spot and the price point. There are a lot of good options, but I don't necessarily see a 6 million defender as a must-have, but it will be. Just saw that I lost audio again, but my point is that if you have a 6 million defender, it will be easier to switch to one of the defenders if they become essential. I just mentioned an example. If Andy Robertson gets injured, then I think Kirkis will become a really strong option if he is nailed on to play week in, week out. Audio gone. Yes, I just actually think that I was rather quick with fixing the audio. Hopefully the audio wasn't gone for that long this time, but I definitely need to figure out how to keep the audio for the whole stream. I've tried again. Eric Willie, let's have a look. Hopefully this was helpful. Having a look at your team, Martin. My two suggestions would be to upgrade Van de Ven to Pedro Porro, or a more attacking option is to invest more in midfield by upgrading Anderson to a 6.5 option. I like Sar, I like Njai. He is on set pieces and penalties for Everton, and he's actually been in some of my drafts. So there are a couple of good 6.5 options. And is the hype around Njai legitimate? Don't know the guy, but everyone is praising the guy, so got to include him. I definitely think that there is some merit in picking Njai. As mentioned, I just mentioned that I've actually had Njai in a couple of my drafts. Everton fans, they are saying that he is the most nailed on attacking option for Everton at the moment. He was actually their penalty taker last season as well. I know Calvert-Lewin was their first choice penalty taker, but Njai, he took their penalties last season. Calvert-Lewin, he was injured a lot, so he's really creative. He is a really good player. I've seen him play for Everton. He can play on the left, he can play in the number 10 spot as well. He will definitely pick up a lot of assists, and he can contribute with goals as well. So I think that he's a strong option. After the arrival of Jack Grealish from Man City, seen some Everton fans say that this will not affect NGI's game time. NGI could switch to Grealish when Grealish starts. Yeah, if Grealish becomes nailed and looks good in that Everton team, he certainly can become an option, but I think that it's safest to just start with NGI at the start of the season, to be honest. This was Martin. Let's see if I can find... I'll refresh this to see if I can find your team, Eric. FPL Gump, FPL More, Herkney, we've talked about this. Michael, AY, Beckham, DXO, Nico. To be honest, there are a lot of strong teams, as mentioned. It's really hard to fault some of those teams. Didn't really find any new teams. I'm so sorry. Let's have a look at this one as well. FPL FOMO might be Eric Willie. Can't really see any Eric Willie. Let me know if I scroll right behind it. Maybe you posted under a different post. I'm so sorry, Eric. Can't really find your team at the moment. Not sure why. If you posted under this post, I should be able to see it. Oh, my eyes are bleeding after all this scrolling. Sorry for all the scrolling, guys. If you're interested, please post a picture of your team under my latest post on X and I'll get it up on the screen. Eric Willie trying to post, not sure what's wrong, but Martin Odem, yeah, good shout. He's not in good form though, but defo a looker. Grealish can potentially become a good option, but I wouldn't necessarily start the season with Jack Grealish. I would wait and see how he fits into the Everton side. But we actually seen some other players joining on loan to other clubs that they get a really good start at a new club. So of course, there is a potential for Jack Grealish to become an FPL option again. Actually, he was 2 seasons ago. Did really well for Man City, and of course, his time at Aston Villa. Don't worry, mustn't be getting it right. Yeah, not sure. I know that there is an option to, if you give me your team ID, I could potentially just plot it in and get your team on the screen, but this is not an option before game week 1 because I will only be able to see your game week history. So the easiest way to access your team is by posting a picture. So this is my team at the moment. I will probably just stick with Mateta and stick with Van de Ven. In the poll, 75%. It's 53 votes, 75% going for Van de Ven Mateta, 25% of course then going for Pedro Porro and Welbeck. So I really like Pedro Porro, but I think that Van de Ven is a good option, so he will just stay. So this will be my team for game week 1. Sells in goal, covering the Nottingham Forest defense. I have Virgil van Dijk covering the 6 million spot. I talked about this for just a couple of minutes ago. I think that having a 6 million defender could be vital. If another 6 million defender becomes nailed, I just used the example of Robertson. If he gets injured, I think that Kirkis can become a really good option. Diouf, I like him better than Wan-Bissaka at the moment. And Van de Ven, he has been talked about a lot. As you can see in the graphics on the right-hand side, Spurs, they are the bookies' favorites for any time. Clean sheet odds 59% for their fine fixture at home against Burnley. In midfield, I have Saka at the moment. I really audio again. I didn't catch it this time. Thanks for letting me know, Martin. And I should have one or two, like, what's it called, administrators in the chat. I've actually had a couple of users saying that they're willing to take that role, so I probably would have to look into that. Most important thing is, of course, to fix this microphone, but hopefully the sound is fine when it's working. Of course, every 10 minutes being muted is not ideal, but I was just running through my team. I have to go in 5 minutes, so I was just quickly running through my team. I will most probably go with this one. As mentioned, as you see in the poll, I was kind of thinking about downgrading Mateta to Welbeck to allow me to upgrade Van de Ven to Pedro Porro. I think Porro is a really good option, but there are some benefits with Van de Ven as well. 4.5 easier to have a 4.5 defender on the bench. I'm not really a fan of benching 5.5 defenders, so it will be Van de Ven, Mateta for me. In midfield, Saka, he will be my captain in game week 2. I will also use my bench boost in game week 2. So Dubravka, Esteve, Arias, this is why they are in my team. Really good fixture for Burnley in game week 2, playing at home against Sunderland. Cole Palmer, really solid pick. Actually the most selected player at the moment. Wirtz, he is in to cover the Liverpool attack. Looked really good in preseason and on set pieces. And up front, I really like Jared Bowen. He will be my captain for game week 1. So I'm taking a punt on Bowen captaincy for game week 1. Watkins is in. He has actually been in my team for a couple of weeks now. And Mateta, he's one of he just actually recently joined my team. I had Salah in. I sold Salah to get in Saka. And with the money saved, I upgraded Welbeck to I was just mentioning that on the graphics on the right-hand side, you can see that the top 3 for bookies anytime goal scorer predictions. I don't have any of those players. Mo Salah, Haaland, Ekitike, 54% for Mo Salah, 50 for Haaland, and for Ekitike, he is on, let's see, 47%. None of them are in my team, so I'm kind of playing a bit against the odds, but I'm really hoping that my other players can outscore or at least match Mo Salah and Erling Haaland. I really like the Saka pick, especially for Game Week 2, where he will be my captain. I will look to have Bruno Fernandes in Game Week 3 in some way. I really like Man United fixture in Game Week 3, so if Marmoush or Wirtz, if they don't look good in Game Week 1 and 2, one of them will most probably be sold to bring in Bruno Fernandes. Orange Apple, thanks for joining in. Hey bro, how are we? Really good. Just about to finish a really nice Q&A this evening. A lot of discussion about different teams. Had a lot of different teams up on the screen. There are I think that the teams that has been posted on X under the comments of my recent post, it's really hard to fault these teams. Really good FPL managers posting their teams this evening. So there's only small things to discuss about the teams, but the core this evening has been Sanchez sells in goal. A lot of double Nottingham Forest defenses. Palmer, he is in most teams. There actually have been a lot of teams without Salah, Haaland, just like my team. I really loved your shorts on the teams, found it very useful. Thanks for the feedback. Actually, it took a while to make those shorts, even though it's shorts and only two minutes. The graphics took actually a while to make, so I'm not sure how frequently I will post those shorts, but I really enjoyed making them, so really glad you enjoyed it. I feel Mitoma has gone under the radar, 6.5, and he is a bowler. You gone mute. I'm really terribly sorry about the mute problem on this stream. If you just recently joined, I've had this problem for most of the stream. I'm not touching my microphone nor the cable, but every 5 to 10 minutes the audio just cuts off, so I have to unplug the wire and plug it back in to get the sound back. Not really sure why or what's happening, so if you have experienced something similar, please let me know in the chat if there are any quick fixes to this. The thing is that the cable is not that old, and it is actually the original that came with the microphone as well, so it should be up to date and fully functioning, but I'm not really sure. But let's not waste more time. Hopefully this will be better on the deadline stream tomorrow. Let's have a look. Orange Apple in midfield: Cole Palmer, Wirtz, Saka, Bruno, Anderson, Watkins, Ekitike. Anderson on bench. Really strong team. It's really similar to other teams I've seen. You have Sanchez in goal and you have covered the Nottingham Forest defense. Diouf, I really like him better than Van Bissaka. I have Diouf myself. Cole Palmer, most selected player. I like Wirtz in my team as well. Saka, I like Bruno Fernandes. I'm a bit worried because I don't really like the fixtures for Man United at the start of the season. He's playing a bit deeper, but this hasn't really stopped him during preseason. So I think that Bruno Fernandes is a good option. I'm not a fan of Anderson, but he's probably my favorite 5.5 midfielder because of the corners. On some I think I think this has happened like 20 times. It's really, really frustrating, and I'm really sorry. I will fix this, hopefully, until the next stream. I was just talking about Anderson. He would be the only thing I don't like about your team, to be honest. I don't like that 5.5 midfield spot. You may have to repeat what you said about my above comments. I was just discussing Anderson and the fact that I'm not really a fan of the 5.5 midfield spot. I've actually gone for a big punt in Arias from Wolves, but I will just need him for game week 2, and I will potentially sell one of Marmoush or Wirtz in game week 3 to bring in Bruno, and I will downgrade Arias to a 4.5. But I will use my bench boost, so the 4.5 midfielder will stay on my bench. I really like Ekitike. I just mentioned that he is actually one of the bookies' favorites for anytime goal scorer. The text is probably a bit small. I'm not sure how readable it is, but on the right hand side you can see top 3 anytime goal scorer: Mo Salah, Haaland, and Ekitike. He is third on that list. Why not Malen? I think Malen is decent, but when the game first launched, he was really popular in the FPL community over at X. But last couple of weeks, there has been some rumors about Malen being rotated. So, of course, he could be a really solid pick, but they have a new signing that can potentially play in that spot as well. So, as mentioned, could be really, really good, but he can potentially be a trap as well. So, my take on Malen at the moment is that I probably will just wait and see. And this goes for most of the 5.5 midfielders. I talked about Reinders, Anderson, Malen. Could be really, really solid picks at 5.5, but they could be traps that drops down to 5.4 as well. Anderson to Rodgers, Watkins to Pedro or Mateta. I would probably just stick with Watkins, to be honest. Let's have a quick look. I need to find your team back. I would probably downgrade. Really strange saying this. I have the same player in my team. I have Virgil van Dijk, but with your team structure at the moment, you have a 5.5 defender already in Murillo. I would potentially downgrade Van Dijk and upgrade Anderson. There is a possibility of going for someone. If you downgrade to a 4.5, of course, you can get someone like Rodgers, but 6.5, I like Sar as well. Decent option. NGI from Everton on set pieces, including penalties. I think that actually the 6.5 midfielders are better value compared to the 5.5 ones that's relying on defensive contributions, especially like Anderson. Are you still checking drafts? Just sent mine in. I will go check. Let's have a look. I'll refresh. This will probably be the last team. Oh, what happened? Let's get this. Have we seen this one? So it has to be this one, right? 2 minutes ago. HS, come on, you gunners. So there's a plan. Bench boost in game week 1, free hits in game week 2, and wildcard in game week 4. Actually, this is not the first FPL manager with this exact plan tonight. Being aggressive, what draft do you prefer? What change would you make? Let's see if we can fit both teams onto the screen. Make it a bit smaller. Like that. Maybe something like this. Okay, so let's have a look. Got to go sadly, but thanks for the help. Best of luck for tomorrow. Orange Apple, thanks for joining in as always. I remember you being one of the most reliable listeners last season as well. So really appreciate seeing you this season as well. Best of luck for game week 1 and hopefully I'll see you later. Hayden, let's take a quick look. I have both of your teams on the screen at the moment. Cells, Poro in both Frimpong, in double Forest in the first team, double Spurs in the other. I actually have been talking about double Spurs and double Nottingham Forest. I like the idea of both. As mentioned earlier, the Nottingham Forest defense is so highly owned, so having a double up could be a really good idea. And Spurs, as you can see on the graphics, they are actually the bookies' favorites in game week 1 to keep a clean sheet. So I like both defenses. Let's have a look in midfield. Triple up from Man City. In team 2, Reinders, Marmouche and Hallen up front. No Salah in either team. Vitz is in both. Kyrgios in both. Pedro and Wood in both. So it's a triple up on Man City. Or what can I think that team 1 is the most appealing to me, to be honest. Watkins, Joe Pedro, and Wood. Of course, Haaland, we know that he can be really explosive, but I think that spreading those 14 millions by having that Liverpool double up, I think that Gakpo goes a bit under the radar, to be honest. The bench in Team 1, really strong bench, first team. I just realized that you need to have some money on the bench in this option, seeing no Haaland. So Marmoush, Verbruggen, Aït-Nouri, Cucurella in that first team. Of course, a really strong bench, really strong team. You will have a couple of benching headaches before your game week 4 wildcard. Bit more balanced benched in the second team. Dewsbury Hall, solid option. I would prefer Njai, Milenkovic 5.5 and 6 million defender Cucurella on the bench. At the moment, my favorite team out of those is the first option, to be honest. I really like this one. I think that the budget is spread in a fine way. Are you not a fan of Watkins to Rodgers? I think that Rodgers will start, and I think that he will do well. I think that Rodgers will start. I think that he is well priced at 7 million. The thing is that I really like Watkins, so Watkins he is actually locked in for me, so I wouldn't change Watkins, to be honest. Hayden, I really like your first team. This is well structured. You will have some benching headaches in game week 2 and game week 3 before your game week 4 wildcard, of course. Muted only happened for a couple of seconds yet. So it's like I can monitor my sound with the soundbar going up and down, but it's really frustrating that I'm being muted and have to fix the microphone every 5th to 10th minutes. So I need to find a way to fix this problem. I'll try some Google search and hopefully this will be fixed before the deadline stream tomorrow. So as mentioned, this option is my favorite. Of course, you mentioned the free hit in game week 2, so there will be a benching headache in game week 3, but it can be a positive thing. You will have really strong options. Really aggressive start, and of course, in game week 1, you can get a really solid start to the season with this team. I like how you spread your funds. There is, of course, a risk going without Mo Salah. He will be, even though he's not the most selected player. I think that both Joao Pedro and Cole Palmer actually has higher ownership than Salah at the moment, but Mo Salah will be heavily captained in game week 1, so there is a risk, of course, going without him. I think that most players that have Salah in their team will most probably captain him as well, so his 35% ownership will get close to 70, and there will be a lot of triple captains in game week 1 as well, so we can potentially see Mo Salah 80-90% ownership. I'm willing to take the risk. I don't have Mo Salah, so I think it's worth going without him and spread the funds. Thoughts on double Forest defense? I really like double Forest defense. I only have cells at the moment, but I like both doubling up on the Spurs defense and Forest defense. I've been discussing this earlier on this stream as well. And Spurs, they are actually the favorites for clean sheet odds in game week 1. Yeah, I'm more worried without Haaland. I really don't rate Wolves this season. Yeah, there could be a lot of goals in that fixture, so this is the reason why I have Marmoush in my team as well. I think of course, he can't cover Haaland, but at 8.5, I think that he is a viable option to cover the Man City attack. I don't think he will outscore Haaland, but he is a midfielder, so he will get extra point for goals, and he is on some set pieces as well. So yeah, playing away, definitely. Hopefully Wolves can put up a fight at home in game week 1. Orange Apple, who would you captain out of Palmer, Watkins, Saka, Wirtz, Ekitike, and Bruno Fernandes? Probably Palmer out of those options. At the moment, Cole Palmer is my vice captain. I'm taking a punt on Jared Bowen for West Ham's fixture against Sunderland. Saka will most probably be my captain in game week 2. Really good fixture for Arsenal playing at home against Leeds. So will be Jared Bowen game week 1, Saka game week 2, and I will try to find a way to get Bruno Fernandes in game week 3. The thing is that if you decide to go against Mo Salah, you really need to nail down your captain options. And of course, if Salah blanks, then this will be really, really good for the rank going without him. I'm willing to take the risk. I like this team on the screen as well. Double Forest defense, Frimpong, Porro. I've had NGI in a couple of drafts, but upgraded him just recently. Appreciate you going through the team. Good luck in game week 1. Thanks for joining in. Best of luck for game week 1. I actually have to go now, so thanks for everyone joining in on this stream. It's been really great. Actually, close to 900 viewers on this stream. That's really, really good. So hopefully you enjoyed the stream, and if you're interested, I will have a deadline stream tomorrow as well, a couple of hours before the deadline. I will hopefully have a better microphone connection tomorrow, so if you're interested, go check out if my microphone is better tomorrow. But thanks for joining in, and hopefully I'll see you next time. One last question from Orange Apple. Thoughts on just had to fix my microphone once again. At first glance, this looks really interesting. Tarkovsky to Nico Williams, saving 0.5. Anderson to Rodgers, and saving that other million by going Watkins to Jared Bowen. Orange Apple, I like this idea. Watkins, I just talked about Watkins and saying that he is a really good option, but I like Jared Bowen as well, and seeing the upgrade. I don't necessarily see Tarkovsky to Nico Williams as a downgrade, and I think that Anderson to Rodgers is really, really good upgrade. So you have the Aston Villa attack covered with Rodgers, so Watkins to Bowen, Jared Bowen can be a good transfer, seeing you have Rodgers. So good transfers in my opinion. Do you think maybe downgrade Kukurea to Van de Ven and Jai to someone else? Kukurea 6, you will have 1.5. You will be able to bring in an 8 million midfielder. Which Which midfielder is priced at 8 million? No one really comes to mind. The best player at that price point. What I potentially would consider is Cucurella to a 5.5 defender, probably being aggressive. Cucurella to Murillo, Chris Wood to Jared Bowen. Cucurella to Murillo, Chris Wood to Jared Bowen. That can actually work. It will be a differential having a triple up from the Nottingham Forest defense, so something to consider. As mentioned, if you're interested, join in on the live stream tomorrow as well. Thanks for joining in and best of luck for game week 1.